well. Make your order for live crawfish by noon on Thursday. Pick up on Friday for the weekend. Waco Custom Marketplace, your home for...
Welcome to Sikkim 365 Radio.
On first down, Brewer, play fake, got time, delivers, catch made, Platt, Chris Platt, sprint for the end zone, touchdown Baylor! They sure did take their shot, 50 yards!
Sikkim 365 Radio is presented by IdealMRI.com. High-quality MRIs for $497 or less. IdealMRI.com. Your health is important, so is your budget.
Burrow's got time, launching for the end zone, jump ball, touchdown, Terrence Marshall.
The 3 o'clock hour is sponsored by Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, Texas treats, and a cut above the rest. 425 Lake Air Drive, Waco.
Look out, folks. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Mariano sprinted toward the dugout, and this is not good, folks. This is exactly what Major League Baseball said you absolutely cannot do.
Have you downloaded the Sikkim 365 Radio app? Do it today on the App Store and Google Play. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Big Ten schedule. I hope that's what happens. Our university is committed to playing no matter what that looks like and how that looks. We want to play no matter who it is or where it is. So we'll see how those chips fall. We certainly hope it's in the Big Ten. If it isn't, I think we're prepared to look for other options.
There are conflicting reports of exactly what the Big Ten has or will decide on the future of their college football season. That's one of the coaches, Nebraska's Scott Frost, who today in a press conference was able to describe the emotions of what Nebraska wants to do. So did Jim Harbaugh at Michigan, Ryan Day at Ohio State, James Franklin at Penn State, among others. Scott Frost said that Nebraska would lose up to $80 to $120 million in their athletic budget if they don't play football. We all know the money involved. That's just part of the iceberg that we don't know if it's the tip or about to break apart. Hi, David Smoke, Paul Catalina, Craig Smoke. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. So many, there's Ryan Day a tweet, swinging as hard as we possibly can right now for these players. So we don't know if there's been a vote. There's been reports that there have been, and there's also been none, or some that said, no, we haven't voted. Right now, as far as we know, Baylor season continues. Charlie Brewer took to Twitter over the weekend, along with Trevor Lawrence, among others, saying, we want to play. We want to play. Hashtag we want to play. Paul and Craig join me. It is just Monday. Tomorrow could be one of the biggest days ever in college athletics, and today has been, my God, a roller coaster.
Yeah, the last 48, 72 hours, really, as we went into the weekend, we kind of started having some reports of, cold feet and things like that, but it's really picked up steam in the last 24 hours as now you've had players like Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence organizing and getting players onto the same team as far as their desire to play, but also with, some things in tow, like reassurance about the health and safety protocols and things of that nature, as well as, a little bit of the pie, a little bit more than they've been getting. And so the players have actually played this masterfully. It's the adults who have played this terribly. And so they actually could have, in fact, and we'll have to see, created a college football players union with their own indecisions. And that's incredible. Like, this is blown up in their face so badly because of the lack of leadership. And just in the last 2 minutes, Tennessee's chancellor comes out, says, this afternoon I met with our football team and staff to have an open conversation about playing football this fall. At the end of our discussion, I asked if they wanted to play football, and the answer was a resounding yes. And it's pictures of the chancellor in the indoor, with the team and all that. Nick Saban, I know I'll be criticized no matter what I say. I don't care about player safety. Look, players are a lot safer with us than they are running around at home.
And we'll have a Joel Klatt comment, and that's one of the 5 criteria he mentioned of why football should not be canceled, is they are safer, it appears, on campus, at least for now, students aren't back, than they would be if they're let go and just roam wherever they go because they have no protocol of football.
Yeah, I mean, some people will
or
be...
the testing elements either.
Well, look, it's just like anywhere else in society. Some people will be responsible. Some people will not. It depends on what their personal, fortitude is for doing all the things you're going to have to do. And if you're not responsible, there's no guarantee you're going to have football again later on. I'll say this, this has all come about because the NCAA does not think proactively. They react, and they're reacting to everything. Craig mentioned the union. That was probably coming down the tracks in a couple years once the NIL thing actually became official. Mm-hmm. But bottom line is now it's probably coming before then.
College football misses Mike Slive and Jim Delaney in a lot of ways. This is from Brian Davis, high-ranking UT source, telling me school administrators want to play, spent big money on testing protocols, accepted smaller stadium capacity. They feel good about it. SEC Commissioner Greg Sankey, the best advice I've ever received since COVID, be patient, take time when making decisions. This is all new. You'll gain better information every single day. Late yesterday, Charlie Brewer, I speak on behalf of myself and our team. We trust our medical staff here at Baylor. We believe they're going to put us in the best position possible to be safe. Hashtag we want to play, which is part of what Trevor Lawrence, the Clemson quarterback, who, if anyone, could sit there and just lay back and go, I'm going to be one of the top picks or number one pick in the draft next April. Why should I go risk injury? And he wants to play.
Well, Ohio State quarterback Justin Fields has been another one. There's been many. And Alabama running back Najee Harris actually came out today and said that so long as they give him a waiver to sign, he will sign that waiver to be able to play. And that's the big scare that a lot of these college officials aren't talking about, or kind of using other reasons for why they're not making decisions or why they are making certain decisions. Really, it comes down to the colleges, the liability, right? Like, that's the thing that they're scared of. But if players are willing to sign waivers and say, like, hey, no matter what happens this season, I know the danger's going in, but I want to risk it and I want to go ahead and play, then what's stopping you?
I agree. We'll have Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports. He's one of the few that I saw over the weekend that actually, he wasn't saying you have to shut the game down. He was trying to look at it in different ways. We'll have him today. By the way, on Nick Costco, 247 Sports, the Big Ten refutes report of canceled season. Although Dan Patrick, who has an amazing amount of networking, said he's been told it was a 12-2 vote with Nebraska and Iowa as the only ones that said, wait a minute, we want to continue to play. President Trump weighed in, saying student athletes have been working too hard for their season to be canceled. Of course, that stirred up different emotions in different ways. One other story today, and of course, that Ben Bolt High School down in the South, in the Valley, canceled their football season. We'll hear from their AD football coach, Gary Cunningham, today at around 4:15. We are stacked. Two of the Baylor's newest commits in Lemire and also with Langyell. They'll join us back-to-back. But coming up next, national columnist Dan Wetzel on Sikkim 365 Radio.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Ben Erlinson, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Ben Erlinson, 100 North 6th Street in Waco, 254-759-8533. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Ideal MRI is a small family business right here in Central Texas. We're open to support you while lowering the cost of healthcare bills. When you need an MRI, ask your doctor for an Ideal MRI. Visit us at idealmri.com or call us at 833-IDEAL-MRI.
Every man knows that you got to get it right in the bed. Hey there, Jay from Pickup Outfitters here to talk about a sensitive issue and asking you, please, don't drive around town exposing your stuff. Please, cover that truck bed. This is a very serious form of truck nudity. Trucks without bed covers, and it's an easy fix. There are so many different types of covers depending on your needs and style, from folding, rolling, locking, retractable, anything from black to silver, even paint to match the original cover of your truck. Now, all these are hard, rigid covers, just like they should be. Now, there are also some soft bed covers, but you know. So don't be driving around with a bare truck bed. It's like letting people peek underneath your covers. It just ain't right. See the different types of bed covers at createacommotion.com/covers. Won't you help us end
Still
truck
gonna be on
nudity?
campus.
Stop by our showroom and see all our bed cover displays at Pickup Outfitters, just off of Waco
Still gonna
Drive
be
at
going to
220
class.
Lake Air Drive in Waco.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
With more than 160,000 alumni worldwide and counting, the Baylor family is growing. And through the university's expanded Baylor alumni program, the family is growing closer. With hundreds of local volunteers planning events in cities and towns around the country, you can gather with fellow Bears no matter where you are. So, get connected, get something started, get involved, and make plans to get together with Baylor alumni. Visit us at baylor.edu/alumni.
Stepping into a new pair of boots is great, but stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can also add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. There are more than 150 occupational specialties to help them find the best fit for their future. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131. Fresh kolaches, cinnamon rolls, and baked bread daily. Butcher Shop to cut your steaks the way you want. Fresh seafood, summer sausage, boudin, and house-cured and smoked bacon. Spices, seasonings, soup mixes, charcoal, and lighter fluid. Waco Custom Marketplace. Doors open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturday, 10 to 5. 425 Lake Air Drive or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Welcome back to
High
Sikkim
School, and also
365
Devin
Radio.
Lemire from Manor, who committed to Baylor, and Dave Aranda over the weekend. We'll have Dave Wetzel. He's available from Yahoo Sports, one of the great national columnists. He joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig Paul and David Smoke. Dan, thank you very much for joining the show. Is the cast die? I mean, is this it? Or is there a lot of right now just speculation of what's happening with the Big Ten? And is it too late for what the players have tried to do in the last 48 hours to say, hey, wait a minute, we want to play?
You know, it seems like the die is cast with the Big Ten and the Pac-12. Now, you never say never, so I won't go that far. But there isn't a source, there isn't a indication, there isn't anything out there that suggests, other than coaches and players kind of railing against it, that those two conferences will not, or I don't know how to say it, I'm confused now in my tenses, but those two conferences are going to suspend or cancel fall sports on Tuesday. I mean, it's just every single indication. So it's not officially official. There wasn't technically a vote, but this is where it's headed. So, I haven't heard anything, and no one's heard anything otherwise. So it would be a massive reversal to do that. And that's just where we're at. What happens with the other leagues, I don't know. The players saying we want to play, I think that's great. I think they should speak up. But that's not going to be much of a factor. And the same with the coaches. When I speak to, you get to it's one thing to talk to people in athletic departments. You start talking to people on boards of trustees campus leaders, the chancellors or presidents, they're trying to make decisions based on what they see as the medical facts, the medical opinions, the ethics of sending people out, the concerns of long-term, all those things. And it would be wrong, even though I would like to see college football played, and I understand all these players, it would be wrong if the decision was, well, we don't think this is safe, but these guys really want to do it. That would, I think, objectively be the wrong way to make that decision. So these are the leaders, and they seem convinced of what they're hearing from the medical studies and the medical people that this isn't a good idea, and that's where we're at with these two conferences.
Dan, I mean, did this rapidly happen in 2 weeks that they knew this, or why haven't they been working on these protocols or all these different scenarios the entire time we've been in quarantine?
Well, I think they have been. I mean, I don't, if you're canceling, there's not really, I mean, they've been pushing along and trying to kick the can as far down the road as they can. Right now, the Big Ten's supposed to open on September 5th. It's August 10th. They don't have camp. They're not allowing full padded practices. So they could push their season. I mean, I don't know how many weeks you need, but look, COVID's one thing. Football's a dangerous game all the time. So you got to have guys in shape. I don't know exactly what that would entail. They have pushed the camp. Could they go another week or two? I'm sure. The Pac-12 was hoping to open their camp a week from today. There are the counties in California where the 4 California schools are. You're not allowed to have gatherings over 50. You're not even be able to start camp. So there's all sorts of challenges on this. But, I had someone at a Big Ten school say today, this decision was made months ago when the virus didn't fade out over the summer, as a lot of people hoped it would. And, if you remember back in the spring, it was, the summer won't be as bad. This is going to be like 1918. And there might be a second wave in November. Well, you're looking at that saying, hey, we could play a season. We're not going to worry about a possible – that obviously didn't happen. And so the virus is here, and that changed opinions. And then you get these medical studies, and there's a great concern over the long-term damages and impact on health and the heart. And this is what I'm being told. Don't yell at me. I don't run the studies, and I don't make the thing. But I'm just telling you what they're telling me. People get mad, man. They're like, "Boy, you got it all wrong." I'm like, I'm not making this decision. It's just, so they've been pushing, but there's been. I felt in reporting on this for since we learned what coronavirus was, there was a lot of pessimism early, and then come in June there was a lot more. Hey, we might be able to do this, and a lot of these schools have done pretty well with their protocols. There's limited, positive tests. But starting July 1, and then as we face kids coming back to campus, it's just that whatever optimism was there faded pretty quickly, and now here we are. So it could be that, we could be doing this today, we could be doing 2 weeks, but the Big Ten and the Pac-12 is ready to pull the plug now and not wait 2 more weeks.
And Dan, it appears the SEC and the ACC have also taken their stance on the line in the sand. The Big 12, the only of the Power 5 that's not really made their intentions or what they favor very clear. If when the Big 10, Pac-12 pull out, do you see any scenario where a couple of other big conferences like the SEC and the ACC, or perhaps even the Big 12, would still try to plow forward this fall?
So this is like the fascinating thing, because I look at it and say, hey, why not, right? Make your own decision. I saw Bob Bowlesby said, Big 12 commissioner, we have our medical advisor. They haven't told us to stop playing. And I would like each conference to make their own decision and look, and maybe you can play. If you think your system works, what do you care what, they think in the Midwest? What do you care what they think out West? However, when you talk to athletic directors and conference people, they think that the domino will start falling and nobody will want to be out there alone or even with 3 of them. There's liability, ethics, the career choice. You don't want to be the president that says we can do this and then this thing breaks bad, your career's over. There's all sorts of other factors. There are humans making this decision. So in theory, absolutely they could. One conference could do it. Even, there's certainly the United States military has said, like, they're not canceled Army, Navy, and things like that. Like, we're playing. Which on a side note could be fascinating because, like, the Army Navy games would be technically for the national championship.
would be greatness.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Right. Navy is 2-0, and they're instead of the AP top 25, it's the AP top 3. But whatever. And quite honestly, I'd be quite excited for that game if we could get it. But that's just me. So you could do it, but will they have that political will, the legal will, all of those things to say we're going to do something that these other schools aren't, right? We're going to. So Stanford Medical School says don't do it, but we're going to do it anyway.
Yeah,
they could, but as humans, they just probably not, and that's where we're at.
What was your overall thoughts? Trevor Lawrence, even here, Charlie Brewer, Baylor practices today at 4. Ultimately create a college football players association. Is that possible?
I don't believe it's legal to do. They tried this at Northwestern a few years ago, and there was a major legal fight over it, and it was not recognized. An actual full union, I don't know how that would work. Talking about just very, very, very challenging.
Yeah.
Some of the things. I respect all of the players, and I respect all of the players for voicing their concerns and, hey, dream big. And, I'm not arguing with Trevor Lawrence or anything like that, but, some of the demands and things that have come out in these just practically just are not really realistic. 50% of revenue. And I mean, it's just, some of these things just aren't going to happen. So I don't expect a players association to occur. I will say this. I do believe college football players understand better than ever the power that they have because these schools are all desperate for this cash. Penn State sent out a thing to their people saying, we're going to lose $100 million or more. 9 figures, they said.
Mm-hmm.
When you have you see those kind of numbers and you realize we're the ones who deliver it. So this whole thing with college athletics is going to be absolutely wild. What happens through this pandemic? I don't know. We're going to lose the season. We're going to lose 2 seasons. I don't know what's going to happen, but money is going to get tight. I fully expect a huge number of athletic teams at various schools will be cut. Departments will be smaller. There'll be less scholarships for, the so-called non-revenue sports. You could have, a number of teams no longer trying to play FBS. Who knows what we're going to have at the end. I don't know what's going to look like. It isn't going to look like what we had going in though.
Yeah.
Someone who loves college football and the unique absurdity of the sport of just this crazy, whatever this thing is. It's a lot of fun when things are going well, but you look at it when things aren't, you going, who's running this? Like it's unfortunate if we have to lose any of that kind of just that uniqueness, but it's just obviously unprecedented and a wild time. Money is going to get really tight.
Dan Wetzel from Yahoo Sports. I wanted to give you a plug. Macmillan Publishers, Epic Athletes. There's various books that you put out. My oldest brother, Robert, who's in his mid-60s, is a massive Lionel Messi fan. I bought that today online from your Epic Athletes series, and have that. Awesome. He's going to get that tomorrow. He doesn't know that, but he is. I just wanted to give that little plug for you and the Epic Athletes book series from Macmillan Publishers. Great stuff.
Appreciate it. Yeah. Well, the kids really like reading them, so it's been good for the nice like sixth grade kid that doesn't read a lot. We got some books they can read.
He will love it, and he's 66. So I know him. Hey, thanks a lot, Dan. Appreciate your time on such a crazy day, and maybe tomorrow's even more bizarre. Yeah. That's Dan Wetzel, Yahoo Sports, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. 254-339-1122. What are your thoughts on what you just heard of what should happen going forward? Would you, if you're a Big 12 fan, accept anyone else if that's even possible to join the Big 12, especially with one of them, Nebraska, left the Big 12? Just a thought. Coming up next, Ryan Laniel and Devin Lemire, both the latest commitments for Dave Aranda and Baylor, back-to-back on Sikkim 365 Radio. And yet again, Brian Etheridge, Waco Custom Marketplace. We ought to just call him up and ask him to give us his endorsement of one of the great places you could ever go buy product as far as food, meat, beef, groceries, and more. So his latest picture from the weekend, and by the way, Brian Etheridge from Sikkim365.com, he gets a tri-tip. He gets like 2 or 3 of them, and he shows video of him like trimming the fat. I would have no fingers left based on how he does it. But this is a big basket of tri-tip and brisket and bacon-wrapped fillets and ribeyes and a bunch of large deveined shrimp that have just the shells on it, the tips on them, the tails, loaded up every pretty much weekend with Brian Etheridge. But also, that's not all they have. They have pre-cooked meals from beef tips and rice or Texas lasagna, among many other items that are available at Waco Custom Marketplace. Fried chicken salad. Also, they have I mentioned the Texas lasagna. There's also chicken spaghetti as well. The hog balls. Yep, jalapeno wrapped brisket and cheese and smoked around wrapped bacon. I mean, right around it. Think about that. It's Waco Custom Marketplace. Meats, sweets, and Texas treats, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Hey, this is Bryce Petty, former starting quarterback and 2-time Big 12 champion, and I know firsthand the importance of being in top shape both on and off the field. So listen up, men. If you're feeling beat down day in and day out and looking for that high-performance edge that separates the men from the boys, then look no further than the Petty Clinic Low T in Waco. Petty Clinic is a comprehensive men's healthcare clinic with an atmosphere catering to men. Board-certified Dr. Kent Petty has a special interest in offering the highest quality medical care to men of all ages. Some of the services offered include screening and treatment for low testosterone or thyroid, infertility, high blood pressure, diabetes, high cholesterol, sleep apnea, while offering comprehensive wellness exams and complete men's health lab panels. High performance men, remember, it's not just a Petty thing. This is Bryce Petty, encouraging you to reach out and Google search Petty Clinic Low T or go to pettycliniclowt.com and get your complimentary lab screening today.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And oh, there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
This segment on Baylor Athletics on Sikkim 365 Radio is brought to you by Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac, located at the Imperial Drive exit off Loop 340 in Waco. Proud supporters of all Baylor Athletics.
As we mentioned, Baylor will hit the practice field around 4 o'clock this afternoon as they started, of course, over the weekend. And over the weekend as well, on Saturday, a double whammy of commitments, two really highly looked at and thought about players in Ryan Langiel from Jesuit and also Devin Lemire from Maynard, the defensive back. And Ryan Langiel joins us now, Craig and Paul and David on Sikkim 365 Radio. Ryan, thank you very much for your time. Before we even get to the commitment in Baylor, what as a high school player are you watching or paying attention to right now with all the speculation about what conferences may or may not play? How does that affect your day?
Right now, I'm just kind of worried about if the NCAA grants the seniors this year extra year of eligibility, then those guys will still be there. But, I mean, I'm not really worried about it. I'm kind of worried more about my football season because that's what's coming first, and that's what I'm focusing on.
And you're coming off a phenomenal year. Jesuit was one of the great stories last year in 6A football. You're the ones that knocked off the defending champions in Longview and made the great run. How much of the momentum has carried over, in your opinion, in whatever has been this offseason?
We actually had a lot of momentum coming into the off season, and that never really stopped. We got the whole team an app called Sports U, and we were all posting our workouts. So even when we weren't together, we were kind of still together and kind of working as a team. And so when you see everybody working together, it kind of just puts that chip back on our shoulder.
What was it about Baylor that made you pull the trigger right now? Dave Aranda, Joe Wickline, all these different things. What was the key?
It came down to my relationship with the coaching staff and how I can tell even through their voices and the conversations that I've had with them that they care not only about me as a player but also as an individual.
What did you know about Baylor prior to your commitment? I mean, how closely have you followed them over the past few years? What have you taken away from the program, if anything?
So my siblings actually go to TCU, so I've always kind of – that's a big rivalry game, right?
Uh-huh.
And so that was kind of a big funny deal in the family because that rivalry game will be fun from now on. But I didn't actually know a whole lot about the program. I knew Coach Aranda was a new coach, and so I'm excited to get down there and meet everybody.
Who was the one most involved? And I know it's not just one, but who was the one that you mostly were involved talking to about Baylor?
I talked to Coach Joe Wickline and Coach Omar Hales a whole lot.
Okay. Wickline, the offensive line coach, and Hales has been very busy up in the Dallas area, along with, of course, Joey McGuire, who coached at Cedar Hill. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, and so, I've been talking with them every other day, if not every day, for the last 2 or 3 weeks, just kind of building that relationship, and I decided that I was ready to pull the trigger on them.
What did they tell you about just, what they see in you, what they like, and what they kind of project as far as what they can do with you at Baylor?
They like my size and my length as an offensive tackle, so they're going to keep me at that position right now. And they like how I play the game with my nastiness, and so they kind of want me to come in at about 290, 295 and get into that strength program and start competing with them.
So I traded a couple of, an email and text with Brandon Hickman, your head coach, and he goes, it's been a pleasure to coach Ryan. He's really matured as a player and a person the last couple of years, which is something you love seeing as a coach. He then made the comment to me that after your sophomore year, he kind of discussed what you had inside of you as a football player and what you could possibly do to play at the next level, and you could, but you had to do a few things. What was that discussion like with Coach Hickman?
So his son was actually going through the recruiting process at that time, and so looking up to the older guys, you always kind of want to follow in their footsteps, and playing at the next level has always been a big deal. And so when he told me the things I was going to have to do and focus more on the game and kind of start maybe caring a little bit more than I was at the time, it kind of lit a fire in me, and so that's what we've been working on for the last 2 years.
What do you mean by caring a little bit more? Just being more focused on that?
Yeah, like learning plays better, hitting the weight room a little bit more. I hit a giant growth spurt with body weight just because he told me I needed to lift more, and I was lifting every day with the team. I would lift extra, and so that's kind of – I played that season at about 220, my next season at 250, and I'm going into this season at about 280.
Wow, that's impressive. That is a big growth spurt right there. Ryan, who helped you love the game of football? Who helped introduce it? And, when did you start first getting your hands in the dirt? Who was responsible for that?
So I was kind of a heavy-set kid when I was growing up, so they always put me on the offensive line. I never kind of got a really chance to get off the offensive line. When I played in the DPL, they had me on D-line and offensive line, and so coming into Jesuit, I really wanted to play defensive line. I thought that was the best thing there is. You get to hit people, you get to run around. And they stuck me on the offensive line. They stuck me with Coach Hickman, and the way he wants us to play the game, the way he teaches us to play it with the nastiness, to finish guys, that really kind of made me fall in love with the spot of the offensive tackle and O-line. And so, I'm really happy that they shoved me in the offensive line position.
So you have the demeanor and nastiness of a defensive lineman playing on the offensive line. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, sir. I want to put people in the dirt.
It
Great
also,
mentality.
Yeah, well, that's you want pancakes and whatever else blocked. It also sounds like to me, and you don't have to admit this because no one's listening to us. You really want to play running back, don't you? You're kind of fed up. You're stuck in the. There's a part of your heart that you want to get the football and run with it.
Every offensive lineman wants to get the football.
Yep, absolutely. Your academics, obviously, Jesuit is a very highly acclaimed high school. No question what they do. Your thoughts about how important that is, and you want to major in business. How much have you had a chance to look ahead to that with Baylor?
I sat down, I guess, Tuesday with the whole academic team of Baylor. So we had, I think, 7 people on the call, and it was everyone that I'd be interacting with on a daily basis. And we actually went over in depth of kind of what would have to happen, what we're going to do day to day at Baylor with academics. And so that's kind of how we looked at that aspect.
Well, it was a heck of a year last year. You're here. You are trying to practice. Well, you guys haven't started yet, right? You don't. Where are you as far as that's concerned? Because the 5As and 6As won't start for another a couple of weeks.
Yeah. So 5As and 6As are going to start September 8th with practice and camp. So right now we're doing strength and conditioning. So we're going up there we were going up every day of the week, Monday through Thursday, and we were getting an hour lift in outside and then hour of plays on air. And then we got the next week and a half off to kind of adjust to school and the new schedule. And then we're going to go into camp and be ready.
How much stress do you feel has been alleviated from your shoulders, Ryan, just to have this decision done with and now the ability to completely focus on your senior season?
I was actually awesome. As soon as I made the phone call, you could feel I was lighter inside. I was able to get some good sleep that night knowing that I made the right decision. And so going into my senior season, I'm ready to win a state championship with my team.
What is it like right now as a high school senior to be with what happened your junior year at the end in the spring with COVID and then just the unknown? Is it something do you lose sleep over it? How does it affect you? Is there anxiety with all this? I'm not trying to be too dramatic here because it affects us and we cover the game. We don't play the game. What's that been like for you?
So it's kind of anxious waiting for a decision just to see if we're actually going to get a season because that's what most important is for me right now is that senior season. We've worked and the team's worked all of our lives for this last year. and it's supposed to be the greatest year of football ever for us. And so we're kind of anxiously waiting to see what's going to happen, and we're really hopeful that we're going to play a season.
So when Baylor plays TCU, is there going to be a little bit of a cat fight on who wears purple and who wears green?
I think we'll all be in green that game.
There you go. Ryan, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Thanks for reaching back out to me yesterday. Congratulations. Thanks for your time, and enjoy the week.
All right. Thank you guys so much.
You too. That's Jesuit offensive lineman Ryan Langiel with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Very focused young man. A big boy. That's a big kid right there.
Yeah, he had other options. I think Texas was really the main competitor for Ryan. When we talked to the other commit from over this week, Devin Lemire, he had a few more options, but Ryan certainly could have taken his time, seen how it played out and knew all that, but just decided to go ahead and make his decision. So that was a nice little head-to-head win over Texas. A couple of them actually with both of those commits on Saturday for Dave Aranda's staff. And, they need offensive linemen. You got to get those guys every single year. So they've got some in this class that they will be a part of the future moving forward with Joe Wickline and the rest of that staff. But certainly sounds like he's relieved, and that's great for him.
Yeah, it does sound like he is relieved. We're going to have we'll have Devin Lemire on it here in just a second. One of the things as well about this player movement, which we've now seen with many things from social justice to much more, the unionization, the way the NCAA is set up, that's not possible legally right now.
Right.
That can change. There's a lot of things that have changed. I never thought I'd see the day when NCAA athletes would get paid money at all, other than if it was like an envelope. But that's changed as well. So many things now change so much quicker than before, where it used to be a lumbering train down the track, and now things can change almost overnight.
It's been crazy to see. And, when they came out with the kind of in-concert list of demands, I don't know if they thought those all the way through, but, hey, they certainly have at least shown more organization than the leaders they've been trying to talk to.
Standing by now on the Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac Baylor Bear Hotline, Mainer defensive back Devin Lemire joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Paul Craig and I'm David Smoke. Devin, thanks for your time. We appreciate that. When that car takes off like that in the background, that was you. You were a part of the Junior Olympics. Is that correct in most of the sprints?
Yes, sir. That's crazy. I actually know that. That's crazy.
Yeah, 4x100, 400 to 200, the Junior Olympics. At some point, you played basketball and football and had to make up your mind. So, what was it like to get that decision off your shoulders and commit to Baylor, Dave Aranda, and why Baylor?
It felt great to, shut down the recruitment process. I'm really confident with Baylor. I have a great relationship with all the staff. So I was, like I said, I was real comfortable making a decision.
Devin, you're a defensive back. Dave Aranda has a pretty proven track record, not only LSU, but previous stops, but most recently LSU, with putting guys in the NFL. How much of that was a factor in playing for Dave Aranda?
It was huge. Because being a defensive player, I know that our head coach is defensive minded. He's one of the defensive geniuses in the football world. And, he's coached some of the best, like Grand Delta, for instance. And that also played a big part because that's how Coach Aranda wants to use me in the defense. He wants to use me kind of like a Grand Delta type player because he says I'm real versatile. I have great cover skills and real physical.
That's a pretty high. That had to make you feel good, Devin, to get be treated like Grant Telpit on the defense, knowing how big his role was, huh?
Yes, sir. It played a big part in my recruitment.
So what was just the recruitment like from your end? Just the constant calls, the communication, the decisions, all of that. I imagine you felt like a weight was lifted on your shoulders on Saturday, but just how did you sort of review the entire recruiting process being a really highly coveted guy?
It kind of blew up real fast. I was committed to TCU for a while, and then once I decommitted, it just kind of blew up from there. It was real long, and I didn't really enjoy it as much as other people really would, but I was thankful for it. But I'm real happy it came to an end, and I'm real confident and happy that I chose Baylor.
One of the things I did notice, and I don't follow all of the players that Baylor might be recruiting or have been offered by Baylor. Our site, Sikkim365.com, does a great job with that, with Grayson and Colt and Craig and others. But I did see that you started reaching out to a couple of other guys who are still making decisions. Is that something that you want to, even though Baylor's now up in the 20s as far as commitments, is that something where you want to help them finish strong and maybe become kind of like one of the guys that say, hey, come join me?
Definitely. I mean, I just want to play with the best. So if I got to recruit to play with the best, and that's what I got to do.
How much of a factor is it when you look and see that they already have a lot? I mean, you guys, there's 19 or 20 of you guys now on board for 2021.
You see how much of a factor that is?
Yeah, I mean, when you look and say, man, there's a lot of people jumping on this train.
I mean, it kind of just shows that it's different out there. It's different at Baylor. The coaches are real and they're genuine, so people gravitate to good people.
Devin, I ask pretty much every recruit that we have on. We just had, Ryan Lingyel, who also committed on Saturday. We just had him on a few minutes ago. But I always find it interesting. Where did your love from football come from? Was that, somebody showing you the game? I mean, where did that stem from? How did you get so involved with, loving the game of football?
I mean, for me, football has always kind of just been a part of my life since I was young. I mean, I started playing football at 3 years old. So, football and sports in general, just everything that I've always did. So it's I don't know, I'm just real comfortable with sports, and it's just a big part of my life. Everything kind of revolves around sports. So it stuck with me, and I'm thankful for that.
Ran track, as I mentioned, Junior Olympics. Also, basketball is kind of one of your loves, and you had to eventually let one of them go, and that was track and field, from what your father, Darryl, told me. He also told me this. As far as your work ethic, do you remember how old you were when you used to go in and maybe push him on the shoulder and say, hey, let's go out. I want to go out. I want to go play. I want to go do something. Can you even remember how old you were when you started doing that to him?
I can't. He just tells me stories. I just remember I used to be real young, and I had 2 older brothers, so I'd always see them playing sports. So I was like, I want to do what they did. But they couldn't keep up with me in the workout, so it was real crazy. I wake up my dad to do some jump squats and stuff like that. And I mean, when you're younger, my bad for cutting you off, but when you're younger, you just do it, and you don't really get sore when you're younger. I think your body nobody can just go. But then just to see how, I made it to the Junior Olympics, and I never understood how I was so fast. I just did it because I enjoyed it. So.
Devin, he told me you were 4. That you were 4 years old and you were pushing him to get out of bed. Let's go. 4.
Hey, that sounds believable. He tells me stories all the time.
4 years old and you were ready to go work out, which means your motor runs. Your mother, Frances, ran track and field at Ed Couch Elsa High School as well. Your thoughts about what you've already accomplished as an academician, as far as a student, not just athlete, but a student. Give everybody an idea where you might be with your associate's degree by the time you enroll at Baylor in January.
So by the time I enroll at Baylor, I'll already have enough credits to have my associate's degree, because I'm in a program called Early College, which I started freshman year of high school. So basically I'm taking ACC with college, ACC classes down here. And if they all transfer, I'll be an associate, or I'll be considered a junior down there.
So, what have you always been an academic? Are you like a bookworm?
Oh yeah, my mom stays on top of it. She doesn't want me to just be an athlete. The student athlete thing. Student comes first. That's always been her policy.
Sounds like you got some really great parents, man. They're really doing a great job with you, Devin. And with the associate's degree, is there a particular area you've already identified that you're looking to study? Is that already kind of something you figured out, or is that something you'll figure out once you get on campus?
So the area I want to study is going to be computer science, because I've always, loved technology, being around different types of technology, because that's the way the world's going right now.
Yeah, engineering, is that right?
Computer science.
Computer science. Okay, that's now Dave Aranda can command a room. One, he's a head coach, and people now know what he's done at LSU, at Wisconsin, and elsewhere. But when he gets in front of film, and I know that you guys are, right now everything's been Zoom, whatever, but we've seen it. When he gets in front of it's a projector or whatever's used these days, or any kind of iPads, that he commands X's and O's and film work. How much of that played into what you love about him based on how you guys talk about game film and X's and O's and whatever else film work?
I played a huge role. I mean, I always tell my dad this is like whenever I talk to Coach Aranda, he's one of those dudes that when you're talking to him, you can hear him think while he's talking. And I always just, I feel like I relate to that because I'm a deep thinker, and I feel like we just connect on that level, just always thinking of new ways to do something. And like you said, like I said, he's a defensive guru. He's like respected across the country just for his analysis of the game, what he knows, and all his schemes.
Like to pick your brain and watch film, and that's what he loves. I bet he enjoyed that as well. We mentioned all this, the decision, everything. Ryan Langiel was on with us earlier, as Craig mentioned, the Jesuit offensive lineman. Did you guys communicate at all on Saturday when you were within back-to-back of committing?
No, I didn't know he was committing that day, actually. It just happened, I committed, and then I think a couple hours later, I believe Coach Hales texted me and said, we got another one jumping on board today. So I was hyped for it.
What's it like right now as you wait for practices to begin in about, a little bit less than a month, where you are, your classification at Manor? What is it like to not get on the field right now other than the workouts compared to what would normally be? You would already be in the second week or the first week of working out.
So my team hasn't done any workouts together since it's been a long time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So we've all been working out individually. So, it's been a lot different, but, it kind of tests, your mindset. And, be a self-motivator, wake up every day, and just see the goal at the end of the road. I think we all chasing a state championship. So, every day you got to be like, all right, there's not a coach here to tell me I got to work out, so I got to do it on my own.
Anything else, guys? Devin, thank you. Congratulations. Appreciate your time. Really do. Appreciate your time. Congratulations on your decision, and going forward, good luck with football season.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
Hey, you too. That's Devin Lemire. His mother and father were great. Francis and Daryl giving me some information. Talked to Daryl for a little bit. He had a couple uncles that played football, played in college. He went to Granger High. She went to Ed Koch Elsa, and here's Devin Lemire. That's a good talent right there. That's two head-to-head with some people inside your own state.
Yeah, no, he was on paper the bigger commit on Saturday. As far as, ranking and offer lists and things like that. But who cares? You got you got two guys that you wanted. But no, he was, like he said, he was a TCU commit once upon a time. That's where he was headed, and that they have a pretty good knowledge of, picking defensive players and turning them into defensive studs. And so they probably felt like they had a really good player. He decided to back out of that, and it was to Baylor's benefit ultimately. So just a great job by the staff. And then with, and that was a race, I think, also came down to head-to-head versus Texas pretty much. So that was a couple of nice wins over the Longhorns on Saturday, and then various other programs as well. But you address the offensive line, you address the secondary, you got a stud back there that you're looking at using like a Grant Delpit, so that should tell you right there just how highly they think of Devin Lemire to want to use him in that same manner, because Grant Delpit is a stud and was all over LSU's defense last year. So he must be a heck of a player, and looking forward to seeing how they kind of fill out these last – really, I don't even know if it's a handful at this point of spots. I'm not sure.
Two or three, maybe?
Maybe, yeah. They definitely have more to go. But they don't have another 6 or 7 to go unless, there was some falling off of the roster, which I don't anticipate. So, yeah, it's it's a class that's almost finished. It'll be fun to see how they do finish it.
Football was not affected, and neither was basketball, based on things being shut down, because football had their year. But if, in fact, things are shut down and you have 85 on scholarship and you're losing money left and right because there's no football season in college, and now you have another 20 to 26 or 7 or 5 or 23 come on board, that will make that. You heard Ryan Langiel mention that.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's this whole thing with the NCAA, I don't trust that spring football will happen. Like,
I don't think
it will.
I don't think it's very feasible to think that you're going to have guys play more than 20 games in a calendar year.
Yeah, that's been one of my big point of contentions. I also don't think you're going to get a full schedule in the spring. Like, again, everybody's talking about the
7 games, maybe?
Like, yeah, but is that a year of eligibility for somebody? 7 games? Like, do you really want to go out on your senior year 7 games if you're not bound for the NFL? I wouldn't. That's half the season gone if you play a bowl game. And if
you're already going to the NFL,
well, those guys are going to bolt.
Well, I mean,
if you're Trevor Lawrence and they don't play, he's gone no matter what.
Yeah.
And that's why I respect him. One, he's got a huge name. He's a Heisman Trophy candidate. Of course, we've seen some at the start, but he's a hell of a player. Won a national title, and he's wanting to fight for everybody. Wants the long snappers.
Right. It's just so complicated, and, everybody, well, just go play in the spring, but we don't have, again, I've said this every time, we don't have any guarantee of a vaccine at that point. So what do you think is really going to be all that different? Maybe we have a vaccine, maybe we don't. But if we're relying on maybe to make these decisions, well, then they're not very firm decisions. They're not very well thought out decisions. And, quite frankly, as somebody pointed out, we thought that the summertime was going to be the time for this to really subside. And yet we're about to walk straight into about 9 straight months of cold and flu season. So all this spring talk, I don't think it's happening. I mean, if I had to put money down on it, I don't think it would happen. And if it does happen, it would happen to where it's like a shell of a season and would be a terrible way to go out as a senior not bound for the NFL if I was one of those guys.
Yeah. And look, there's positive news on vaccine testing, but it's testing.
Yeah. And there's various phases. Yeah. And the other thing is if they don't play, and do guys get a year back? And then what happens with those guys coming in? There's so many problems with this.
When basketball was shut down right during the conference, last week of the conference tournament, so many people, they got to get the year back. There were some basketball coaches that said, not that you wouldn't want Lauren Cox back again if she wanted to play or whoever. By the way, Zach Rabachic, the star from Troy, who was getting no offers, and then there were no camps. He made the commitment to Sam Houston State. I actually had somebody that knows the family said that they came in. They already had offered one running back. They were going to offer one more. They left it for Zach. He said yes. So he's committed to Eat 'em Up Cats. Oh, I made him a little faux pas there. And has committed 2,800 yards, 35 touchdowns last year, his junior year at Troy.
Congratulations to him, and I know we got to go, but I'll put on one other thing. If they move spring or football to the spring, and then that doesn't work, and then they have to give another year of eligibility, and then account for another 25 kids coming in, so now all of a sudden you have 100-plus players on scholarship. Think about that money.
How many?
Now think about that with every single sport.
How many of the Division I FBS teams, if in fact there is no fall season, and if there is no spring season, which I don't think there will be a spring if there's not a fall, how many of them will not be FBS by next fall?
Oh.
Oh.
Several.
Yeah.
Dozens. And, you hear all about Title IX, which is it's been kind of lost in the shuffle what Title IX was. Initially, that was for equality for women's athletics and scholarships in colleges. That will be tested like never before because a lot of those scholarships are funded by football. And not just, none of the women's sports are revenue based.
Well, and also
now women's, some of the schools make a little bit of money, but they all lose money in women's basketball.
When it comes down to getting
elite teams,
getting cuts made, sometimes rationale doesn't figure in it when you fight it. Because you can tell them there's no money.
Yeah. No, you can't, it's a law though. Title IX's a law. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how you can sustain it. Coming up next, Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. We'll have Ben Bolt, 80 football coach Gary Cunningham. They canceled their football season, the first in Texas to do so. He'll join us. And then Paul's segment with Ryan Aber of the Oklahoman on Oklahoma. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. Ideal MRI, idealmri.com, helping lower the cost of health care for you. If, in fact, you have something that's more than just a bump or a bruise or a jammed finger, and even that you might need to have an MRI, something that could be broken, could be shredded, it could be torn, whether it's your knee or your shoulder or your ankle or whatever it might be. Ideal MRI can help you get an MRI for under $500 and save you, in some cases, thousands of dollars when it comes to your cost of an MRI. First of all, their MRI machine is state-of-the-art technology. The techs and the specialists are as good as they get. And, of course, Dr. Rob Maxey at Ideal MRI and his staff inside the Central Texas marketplace do an amazing job. Ideal MRI accepts most insurance, and there are no hidden costs, and they even offer financing if, in fact, you need it. And everything is included in the price. And more importantly, you'll never get a bill down the road that trickles in that's more than what you already paid right at the start. Ideal MRI in the Central Texas marketplace in Waco. Again, goal, and they are not just their goal. This is what they're committed to and doing, bringing down the cost of health care. Be a part of the Waco community the way they are, small business, but man, have they made an impact at Ideal MRI, idealmri.com.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jeweler, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
In great times or tough times, you always feel better working with someone who's there for you. When it comes to great banking, people here count on the First National Bank of Central Texas, here to help you, your family, and your business. Personal banking via phone, desktop, tablet, and drive-through, and business banking tailored for all situations, including yours. Amazing tomorrows from the First National Bank of Central Texas. Familiar faces making local decisions. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Summertime means vacation time, and while this summer may be different, at Allen Samuels, you can always count on our huge summer clearance event. It's on. Brand spanking new 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cabs. Now 0% financing for 72 and no payments for 90 days. Or choose up to $10,250 in total values. America's most loyal half-ton pickup owners are Ram owners. It's time to say goodbye. Adios, 2020s from Allen Samuels.
Ask for details.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trust the doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
Do you or your kids get nervous about going to the dentist? Stonewood Dental, Dr. Steve Childress, he can help.
I've spent a career taking care of patients who as children had bad experiences, and now they're adults that hate going to the dentist. If I get a kid at 3 years old and they come every 6 months and it's a happy experience, it's normal for them. Now they have an accident at 6 or 7 or 8 at school. Now they have a broken tooth or a trauma, and they have to come here They're used to lights. They're used to water in their mouth. They're used to experience. They already trust us. It's amazing what we can do with that kid without it being a negative thing. But if I see a 6 or 7 or 8-year-old that's never been to the dentist, and now they have a trauma or an unfortunate unexpected toothache, it's harder to do that for that kid and it not be somewhat of a negative experience. So bottom line is I try to teach kids and adults and teenagers and everybody the way I'd want my family treated, which is where it's a necessary part of life. You just take care of it. It doesn't have to be that big a deal.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
The 4 o'clock hour is sponsored by Boozer's Jewelers, the wedding ring store, specializing in custom jewelry and repair, all in-house.
Brewer, throw, over the middle, caught, Mims, touchdown, Sikkim Bears.
Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Standing by on the Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac Baylor Bear Hotline, Jerry Hill of the Jerry Hill Baylor Bear Insider, owner, editor, and also apparently the only part of the board of regents of the Baylor Bear Insider as well. I'm never going to let that go. Ever.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
I like how you keep adding things to that. That's fantastic.
Well, I mean, it's part of what when you own something, you could pretty much give yourself all the names you want. And
I'm glad I'm getting paid for each of those too. That's awesome.
That's even better. Dr. Livingstone, I'll make sure she thinks you should get paid more.
Every time we add a title, it just goes up. So.
It just goes up.
Jerry, we don't know the future. Yep. You don't know the future, no matter what. Yep. We don't know. But what you surprised at all that the name that did come out from Baylor that wanted to say, hey, we want to play was Charlie Brewer last night?
Was I surprised? No, absolutely not. No. I mean, I figured it would be either him or Terrell, if not both. Those are, whether you listen on the Zooms or whatever, I mean, those are clearly your two leaders on this team. And the fact that Charlie came out and said, let's play, no, I'm not surprised by that at all. And you've seen it across the country. Guys want to play. I mean, I think for the most part, you're seeing the players want to play. And I understand the presidents and the ADs and whatever, they have to look at everything, but it's very clear that the players want to play.
Jerry, what are your thoughts on how Dave Aranda has navigated through all this and in his first year as a head coach so far?
Yeah, Paul, it's such a weird situation. I mean, when you're talking about walking into your, first time ever as a head coach and then pandemic, I mean, I don't know that you could have asked for a more bizarre, really tough situation. No spring ball, nothing. I guess the only thing that kind of makes it a little bit balanced is that nobody else had spring ball either. These guys needed it, obviously, but no, I think he's handled it great. I think with the Zoom calls and the meetings and stuff that they had, they were able to install a little bit of stuff before everything shut down. And then, what they were able to do with those position meetings and the Zoom meetings and keeping guys engaged, I think they did everything that they possibly could. And then, I think it was interesting to hear him talk the other day because that's such an NFL term, the OTA, organized team activities. I've never heard that in terms of college, but I guess that was one of the things that the NCAA amended with this situation, is that they could do some of that before you actually got into the fall camp. So I think in that 2 weeks, they were able to get a lot of stuff done and kind of get ready for fall camps to where they were, be able to hit the ground running. And like I said, I think you're right. I think he's done basically everything you could to be as ready as he could in this unbelievable situation.
Jerry, I was just curious. I mean, typically you're somebody who has the access to watch practices under normal circumstances. Is that still the case? I mean, have you been able to watch any of their practices, or are you away from that as well?
Craig, I'm just like everybody else. I'm on that wait list of I have to be tested before I go back on campus. I was on campus, when was that, last week, to do an interview with Dylan Doyle out at the stadium. And that's the first time I had been on campus since March, since everything shut down. So, no, I'm still waiting. We did have a first wave of athletic staff that went through that, and I should be on, one of the ones coming up. But, yeah, we all have to be tested before we go back and obviously have to get a negative test. So I'm waiting for that. Me and your dad are on that at-risk group. So, but anyway, we'll leave that where it is.
When it comes to just the feel and everything seems to be really upbeat. But Aranda also commented on Saturday about just all of the different teams behind the scenes, the health and wellness team, the strength and conditioning team. I mean, what have you kind of taken away and observed from just how everybody's had to come together and how well it's operated seemingly so far?
Yeah, and Craig, a lot of that did actually start back in the spring with Kenny Boyd and that health and wellness team, Matt Kuehl, director of sports medicine, all that. And then even, team doctors and everybody, they did so much planning and organizing on this before the onboarding that I think it's gone about as smoothly as it possibly could. And I was talking to Krista Pirtle, who does soccer, and she was in a soccer meeting today, and they were talking about that. The kids were talking about it, like how smooth everything has been, how much communication that they've had from all the health and wellness people. So I think, Baylor has kept them in the loop and done everything, taken every step that they possibly could. So I think there's a comfort level maybe, that maybe there isn't at some other places. But yeah, I think the, the planning and everything that group has done, I think it's kind of kept them, kept the players in the loop and gotten them ready for the onboarding. And then, now as you go through practice and stuff.
Well, you mentioned having the chance to sit down and interview Dylan Doyle. I read that, and obviously they have a few other newcomers on campus,
Right.
the defensive end, Bradley King from Arkansas State, among others. Your thoughts about it, and it's an interesting story with Dylan. All of a sudden, next thing you know, he has the carpet ripped out from under him as much as anybody else, along with his father.
Right.
His thoughts about how smooth the transition has been for him under these circumstances.
Yeah, he was, obviously he was looking for a place to go, and Baylor, I don't know how many other places he had on his list, but I think one of the reasons for the Baylor connection, or one of the reasons that they looked here, was because with Aranda being at Wisconsin before and being familiar with that defense, I think that was kind of attractive to him, and so that was one of the connections there. But David, I believe he's been here a little bit over a month or so, and really just kind of clicked with the other guys, and particularly I think with Terrell Bernard. Both of them talked about each other, being, their football IQ and how Terrell can kind of command that linebacker room, but then Terrell in return talking about how smart and how quick Dylan picked things up, and as you noticed in the Zoom call the other day, that was one of the names that Coach Aranda mentioned is Dylan Doyle. Again, a guy who's only been here a little bit of time, but I think, the fact that he's been able to, pick it up as quickly as he can. He also mentioned William Bradley King. I think he's going to be in that kind of outside linebacker rush in type position, that he's had a lot of success with in his defenses. So I think he will give you that kind of, rush edge type guy that he'll be exciting to watch. So I think going in, if you had looked at it back in January or February with all those linebackers they lost, that was definitely going to be, an area of concern. But I think what they've added, and then Matt Jones that redshirted pretty much last year, with those guys and Jalen Petrie and some of those guys, I think they're, and Coach Aranda said it, I think it's probably one of the strengths of their team. I think linebacker is going to be, particularly on defense, I think that's going to be their best position.
You mentioned Jalen Petrie, and, we had Matt Pallage on the show last week, and he mentioned that he's played a little safety as well. So he's going to be an interesting little, guy who plugs in where they need him.
Yeah, and I think him and Jaron McVay are kind of in that same boat of kind of, and they look at that star position, Paul, as I think they call it star, but it's more of a nickel type position, so it's a little bit safety linebacker hybrid type position. And yeah, I think Jalen and Jaron both can, kind of rotate between those positions and play some safety as well, because they really need some depth if you look at safety, because they lost some guys there. They have JT Woods and Christian Morgan back, but they need some depth there. So certainly guys like that have played to give you some experience that have been out there on the field, I think that helps a ton.
Jerry, with Charlie now entering his senior year, I mean, he's already given all indications, as far as he's becoming a leader, being more vocal and things like that. He, along with Bernard Aranda, said that on a few occasions now, among some others. But having Larry Fedora in that room with him, just how much different do you think this offense could look, and how much do you think this could potentially open up Charlie to be the playmaker that he is?
Yeah, I was having kind of that Twitter conversation a couple of days ago after I posted my practice story, and a guy from the ACC was talking about that, the fact that Charlie has now Larry Fedora in his room, a guy that I think he's probably one of the more respected offensive minds in the country, and Coach Aranda talked about it, a guy that really has a knack for counter moves and being teaching those quarterbacks how to read and make the counter moves on the run and stuff like that. I think, Larry Fedora working with him, and then the guy mentioned too, having a guy like Dave Aranda around that knows defense. I mean, you combine those two things with what Charlie already has and what he's been able to do in his first 3 years. I think you could have he's had 2 really good years. But I think he could have kind of a breakout year. And then you look at the receiving core. Even with Denzel Mims gone, I think that receiving core has got to be one of the better ones, certainly in the Big 12, maybe in the country, with all those guys back.
Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it as always. Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. A lot of in-depth information, insight, his interview with Dylan Doyle, among others. A lot of you have hit us up on the Riverbend Liquor and Wine text line. We'll come back with a little bit of that as well. But also, one of the stories that's been just buried here, Ben Bolt High School board voted to shut down their football season. The AD and head football coach, Gary Cunningham, next on Sikkim 365 Radio. If you or a loved one or friend has been arrested and you can't afford bail, trust Terry and Chase Chapman at Chapman's Bail Bonds, covering Waco and McLennan County for over 25 years. Chapman's can bail you out anywhere with experienced, knowledgeable local agents who are committed to serving you professionally, respectfully, and with the highest integrity. Chapman's understands your privacy is important. Your freedom can be secured fast when you use Chapman's Bail Bonds. Open 24 hours a day. Payment arrangements available. Call Chapman's Bail Bonds. When you need help, 254-754-1603. When you ring, we'll spring.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi. Great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco. House-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine. Best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering inspiring cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive and 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
How often have you said it's time to get in shape? Every day, every week, every month, maybe for as long as you can remember? How about starting today? I promise if you'll just join Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness now, you'll thank me later. Hi, this is David Smoke, offering a variety of 40 group exercise classes every single week, including boot camp on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 5:15, plus spin, body shaping, Pilates, yoga, and bar. And there's a free kids club as well. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness open Monday through Thursday, 5 to 10, Friday, 5 to 8, Saturday and Sunday, 7 to 7, and personal trainers, Christy London and Randall Corley. World-class tennis facility with pros Britt Coleman and Joe Rosa with lessons, camps, and special events. Spacious and clean workout rooms, locker room for men and women, both with a whirlpool and sauna, and now there's touchless bottle filling stations. No intimidation, tremendous camaraderie, an entirely new atmosphere, and yes, you can do this, but you have to walk through the front door. It's time to react today, not tomorrow. Waco Regional Tennis and Fitness on Lakeshore Drive in Waco.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio. The Sikkim 365 Radio app is sponsored by Alan Samuels Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram Fiat in Waco. Your friend in the car business at Loop 340 and east of 84. Come by. Let's be friends.
So much talk today nationally about what's happening or what will or is about to happen in college football, which who knows how that up and down roller coaster, what?
I've got an update in the last 10 minutes. Pat Forty says sources, ACC ADs met today, are moving forward in an attempt to play. In the words of one staffer, league presidents could be meeting today as well.
Well, you know what? I'm not ashamed to say this. I'm good for them until it's to the point where you can't. And I understand the risk out there, so that's good. At least they're not yet bowing to what the Big Ten wants everybody else to do around them. We're now joined by Gary Cunningham, as the AD football coach at Ben Bolt ISD. And today, overshadowed because of all the college football news, is right here in our state, the first school and volleyball seasons and football seasons were shut down. Gary, thanks for your time. I'm sure you've been asked by dozens of people for your time in an interview. So did you know that today that was going to happen, and what was the reaction from your players?
Well, actually, the decision was made by our school board last week. I'm kind of shocked that it took this long.
Oh, okay.
About it. It's been going crazy today. But, as you would expect, some of the kids were upset. Some of the kids, I think, probably expected it. I think, and especially for myself, my heart breaks for our seniors. That this was going to be their chance. This was their year, and now it's taken away from them. But still, in light of everything that's going on, I don't think it's a big shock. I really don't.
How much of this has to do with just where you're located down near the border and kind of the trepidation that comes with being there?
Oh, no question. Most of the teams in our district are south of us, and two of the teams in our district are from the valley, and that was a major point in the board's decision.
So you said that the players have handled it well. I mean, I would think, especially in your area and just all over, we're kind of expecting cancellations. But was this just one of those almost foregone conclusions? So maybe it didn't hurt as bad as if it was ripped away, overnight.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think some of the kids pretty much expected it. It was just a matter of time. And again, the seniors were shocked and a little upset. But when they sit down and think about it, I know they'll know that it's probably the right thing to do for this community right now.
What's it been like? You're in much more of a melting pot of what's going on with COVID in your area. What has it been like when you see others, like McLennan County, as you may know, 2 or 3 weeks ago, had this back and forth with the county and the city about whether the players could even continue to work out or start workouts last week, and to watch everybody else working out. What's that like for you and for others around you?
Well, at first, your first thought is, gosh, we're going to be behind. Everybody else is starting. We're not getting to start. And so really that's why the whole thing got taken to the board to start with, was trying to get a start date because we had a county judge that said we couldn't start until October 9th. And then, of course, the attorney general came out and said, no, a county judge doesn't have the authority to shut schools. So anyway, we went to the board in the first place to override the county judge's decision and get started because everybody else down here were starting. And then, of course, our board made their decision. But, not 2 days later, schools down here that had started 1 day of practice and had to shut down. Another one after the first week had 2 kids and they've shut down. So we've had several cancellations down. Well, I say cancellations. The schools that had started earlier are having to shut down now because of positive tests and things like that.
Yeah, it's has anybody contacted you, Gary? Other school did, not just the ones around your neighborhood, but others around your area. But have others contacted you at all about it was almost like, is anyone waiting for that first school to do this, and then they've contacted you and said, okay, give us an idea how you handled this?
I was really surprised. I had 2 calls this morning, as a matter of fact, from schools down in the valley, asking the very same questions. What was the reasoning? What is the thinking? And how did the community handle it? And how did the kids handle it? And that kind of thing. And I just have a feeling that there's going to be more. We're not going to be the only school that won't play football this year. I got a feeling, especially down here in South Texas.
Anything else, guys? Yeah, Gary, congratulations on the way you've handled it. I can't imagine. I guess my last question for you, though, have others, this is kind of sucks that I asked you something, have other schools contacted your players? Is it to that point, or are they just going to leave them alone and go, listen, they can't play? Because you never know. I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, right?
We talked about it quite a bit on our staff here. Nobody has actually come out and said, I want to go here, I want to transfer here, or, jokingly, I've had several coaches tell me, hey, send me a fullback, hey, send me a tight end since y'all aren't going to use them. But originally, our staff sitting here, that was one of our big concerns, was we're afraid we're going to lose some kids, especially as close as we are to some other bigger schools that are playing right now. We haven't had a chance to talk to our kids very much yet about the possibilities if they go, or if they try to come back. And, I don't know. I don't know what UIL is going to come out and say, well, since we're not going to play, let those kids go, or if they're going to say no, just because you're not playing doesn't mean they can move because it's for athletic purposes. So I don't know. Hopefully it won't come up. Hopefully we won't lose any kids, but I can't hardly blame them if they do.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Gary. Good luck, man. Good luck, seriously, going forward.
Thank you very much, guys. I appreciate it.
Ben Bolt, way down south. The first of what is over 1,200 or 1,300 schools that play football in Texas to shut down. I don't know what the number is going to be. I hope it's not 2. But I got a feeling it's going to probably be, Well, I mean, we heard what Devin Lemire said. They've been shut down. They haven't worked out at all down in the Austin area, Lake Travis, Austin County, all that area.
Yeah, but if you look at South Texas, it's it's ridiculous. I mean, I know there's the Mexican border there, and you do have a lot of people, perhaps going back and forth or whatnot, and I don't know how you can really prevent any of that. entirely because we can't ever prevent, border crossings and things like that. But they are in that area where there's that extra risk of people, coming back and forth. And they're just in an area where, they're being slammed. Quite frankly. I don't know what other reasons there are for that. But if you look at like a heat map type of thing where, in light yellow, it means you've got less than this many cases. And in dark reds, like you've got plus this many cases. And they are all dark red down there. They are all the absolute worst you can be. So I won't be surprised if there's others. I don't think, everybody's going to all of a sudden it's going to be a Texas-wide decision like this college football stuff going on. But certainly down there in South Texas, it would not be all that surprising. And there's more and more of this, chatter. I just saw where Texas State, they had to cancel one of their games got canceled because of the MAC. I think they were scheduled to play. I want to say it was Ohio, but regardless, one of their games got canceled. They just announced they're moving their season opener against SMU back to September 5th. So they're still moving forward, like whatever.
Here's the thing: is if there are areas in Texas that are not affected, and we don't know what happens once there's contact, collision, blood, sweat, snot, whatever. We don't know. But if there are areas in Texas that are not affected, they should be able to play. And if some can't, they can't. The same thing in college football. The ACC at least has said, do you think the Big Ten, and Brian Aber from the Oklahoman with Paul Catalina on Oklahoma football and our Big 12 tour will be next. Do you think the Big Ten, they're pretty arrogant now? That's about as arrogant as you get up there.
This is part of the problem.
Do you think that the Big Ten, they were the first ones to pull the trigger? Do you feel like that they felt like they could? Now, again, they have not officially at least voted, even though there's reports out there. Do you feel like they floated it out there to see what would happen? That they're that arrogant that hey, we're the Big Ten, everybody else will just fall into our ditch.
And here's what I think. And here's what I think happened. I think this is twofold. I think the Big Ten did their conference-only thing, and the other conferences go, well, now you've kind of painted us into a corner because we've lost games and now we have to kind of do what you're doing. And then when they floated this out there, we're like, no, Big Ten, you already made one decision for all of us, okay? That's all you get to do. That's all you get to do. And again, if they ultimately make that decision, it's not going to be because the Big Ten did it first. That's a terrible reason for doing it.
Yeah.
It should be based on your own individual circumstances.
Well, and that's what people need to realize, too, is there are different hot spots in different parts of the country. It may be to where it might be wiser for the schools out west to not play, but it could be fine for schools in the south to play. And I'm not saying those are the exact examples, but it's not the same here as it is in the Northeast. And the Northeast isn't the exact same as the West Coast. And so we're talking about all these people like they're in the same situation when they're really not. So could I see a conference saying, hey, this just isn't going to work for us? Sure, but does that mean everybody else should have to put down their work as well? No, it doesn't.
Because they wouldn't.
Because they wouldn't if the shoe was on the other foot, right?
You guys can't control yourselves in the South.
If the ACC had come out before this and said, we don't give a crap what any other conference does, the Big Ten wouldn't be like, oh my gosh.
God, no.
So no, nobody else needs to do that either.
It's interesting. It's kind of like the Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, and Texas connection when all hell's breaking loose and realignment. And they all are attached at the hip in some way, while the others just float out there in the sky.
Has anybody thought about what happens if Nebraska and Iowa say, let's just do Nebraska because we know their coach is on record as saying we'll pursue other avenues to play football if we have to. What kind of seeds of discontent that will sow? Not like Nebraska can just jump and leave the Big Ten.
No, because they're not that powerful. But you know what? The Big Ten could say, gone.
But long-time seeds of discontent get sowed on things like this. Look, Nebraska itself knows this. They got in a fight the day they joined the Big 12 with Texas.
Well, here's I got a comment from Alabama offensive lineman Chris Owens.
Also can't just leave because of the agreement they signed. Yeah. So, could this, when the grant of rights runs out in about 3-4 years, lead to Nebraska return to the Big 12? Sure, it could.
And if the Big 12 brings them back.
Right, I'm just saying, they could leave, though.
Chris Owens, I've never been one to make some generic blanket statement, never in my life. He goes on to say, from us because of failed leadership, we don't deserve to have the game we love taken away. Give the guidance we need, find a way to make this work, and if it can't work, then we can address that if it happens. But too many of us have been put too many hours in the summer. Same thing with Trevor Lawrence, but basically says because of the lack of leadership in college football, which goes back to what Mack Rhodes agreed with last Tuesday when he said everyone's on their own game. Coming up, Ryan Aber. We have the tour of the Big 12. Last week, TCU. Today, Oklahoma. He's with Paul Catalina. This is Sikkim 365 Radio. PettyClinicLowT.com. Dr. Kent Petty. If you're a man as you've gotten older and there are things that just aren't the same for you, it could be you're just sluggish, you're lethargic, you don't have much energy. It could be sex drive, could be that too. And if it's the case, hey, deal with it. Don't hide, deal with it. And if that is the problem, contact Dr. Kent Petty, PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com. Tell him Smokey sent you and get your blood work at a discounted rate. He will look at your testosterone level, and if your testosterone level has dipped below what it should be or way below what it should be, he will put you in a program to become the highest performance man that you want to be in many different ways. And by the way, they will check with your obviously prostate cancer and PSA level as well. PettyClinicLowT.com, Dr. Kent Petty, PettyClinicLowT.com. Boots add protection. Good boots help you climb better and move forward faster. And when your son or daughter steps into the boots of a U.S. Army officer, they also learn how to lead. In these boots, they'll gain more confidence with expert training in one of more than 150 occupational specialties. In these boots, they'll stand a little taller and lead a team with diverse backgrounds and areas of expertise to successfully accomplish whatever challenge comes next. In these boots, they'll earn respect with valuable experience from day one that will give them solid footing for success into the future. Highly qualified candidates who earn a spot on our team can receive comprehensive health care coverage, college tuition assistance, and a bonus of up to $40,000. See all the things your son or daughter can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
It takes time to reach goals. It's a truth that applies to more than sports. It goes for your financial goals as well. You work hard for your money, and you deserve an investment strategy that lines up with your game plan. And Tom Albers, your Edward Jones financial advisor, can help. If your financial investments aren't putting forth the effort you desire, stop by today for a financial review. Tom Albers, 4301 Lakeshore Drive, 254-776-7605. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
At Ideal MRI, we feel blessed to be a part of the Waco community. We're a small family business right here in Central Texas, and our goal is to bring down the cost of healthcare while maintaining high quality. At times like this, the cost of healthcare has never been more important, and unfortunately, significant illnesses and injuries still occur. That's why Ideal MRI is open and here to serve you through the difficult time. We offer premium MRIs just like a hospital with state-of-the-art technology and specialists, but you'll pay less. Sometimes thousands of dollars less, whether you're using insurance or not. At Ideal MRI, we accept most insurance and there are no hidden costs. Even offering financing if that's needed, everything included in the price, and you'll not get something as a surprise in the mail later on. If you need an MRI, ask your doctor about Ideal MRI. They'll know. You can schedule an appointment safely from home online in minutes at idealmri.com or give us a call, 833-IDEAL-MRI, idealmri.com.
Waco's newest gym, Halo Athletic Center, 5725 Bagby Avenue, right behind Region 12 and across the highway from the Central Texas Marketplace, where motivation, inspiration, and hard work are the driving force. State-of-the-art equipment, indoor and outdoor track, locker rooms, showers, yoga and bar classes by Duality Yoga, bod pod potty composition analysis, and registered dietitians, all under one roof, where we rise above. Come join the Halo Athletic Center and be a part of the change. Your change.
At Baylor University, students find their place to shine. They're faithful friends and inspirational leaders. They're championship teammates and independent thinkers. They're on the cutting edge of high tech and in the halls of history. If you want to make the world a brighter place, you can. And if you want to shine in your own way, you can. The spark you need is already inside you. Bring it to Baylor, where lights shine bright.
This is Paul Catalina's College Football Focus.
Ellinger. And Ellinger will be sacked by Pat Fields out of nowhere.
Our college football tour continues as we preview teams. And again, we're assuming that we're going to have a college football season at this point. But Ryan Aber from the Oklahoman joins us now to talk Oklahoma football. And Ryan, this is, the presumptive top team in the Big 12 pretty much every year. It's kind of like Kansas in basketball. This has been Oklahoma's league for a while. And Lincoln Riley's managed to do that with transfer quarterbacks. Right now, he's got to do it with a homegrown one, probably Spencer Rattler. How's that going so far? And does that change your expectations for what their season could be?
Well, I think everybody has been really impressed with Spencer Rattler, and heck, he was impressive last year just in the few games. I think it was 3 that he was able to appear in. You could see the arm strength, you could see the poise, you could see the accuracy, things like that make you think that their quarterback play isn't going to drop off at least that much, and it might wind up, eventually being better than it was last year with Jalen Hurts under Spencer Rattler. But just having a redshirt freshman quarterback at OU doesn't change the expectations at all. Everybody expects this team to, contend for a playoff spot yet again. And Sooner fans are really hungry for them finally to break through and get a playoff win.
Yeah, and part of that has to go in with the defense. We'll talk about that in a second. I do want to ask you about Tanner Mordecai because he is a Waco guy, a Midway guy. We did all his high school games, and Tanner Mordecai is someone who, I think it would surprise a lot of people if he won this job, but I don't think the staff would feel uncomfortable at all if he was in playing quarterback, would they?
No, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that they would be comfortable with Tanner Mordecai there. I think obviously the upside with Spencer Rattler is just so phenomenal, but they've been happy with what Tanner Mordecai has done. He just has been in a tough spot being behind some really good quarterbacks, and now bringing one of the top or the top quarterback in that class a couple of years ago in. But they're happy with what Tanner Mordecai has done, at least to this point, and feel like that if they needed to go that direction, they would be in good hands with him.
Yeah. All right. Let's talk a little defense and Alex Grinch right now. He steps into season 2 as a defensive coordinator. There was certainly uptick last year, but getting that playoff win is pretty much going to come down to them getting stops when they need to, isn't it?
Oh yeah, there's no doubt about that. That this team has had an offense that is capable of winning national championships for a long time since Lincoln Riley's arrival. Their defense has been what's held them back. And last year they took some strides, weren't as good as they would have liked to have been, especially in creating turnovers, which they did for the second straight year at a historically low margin. But they were able to do a lot of other things much better than they did under Mike Stoops. Get pressure on quarterbacks, be disruptive, get third down stops and things like that. But they've got to take another pretty significant step forward. If they put up the same defensive numbers that they did, except for turnovers, and they average at least close to 2 a game, which is Alex Grinch's target number, then they're going to be a whole lot better defensively. And I think they're in a little bit better position to do that, although they've got some pretty big holes to fill over there.
Well, Neville Gallimore's gone. Caleb Kelly got hurt again, which is really tough situation. What is the biggest hole they have to fill on defense?
Well, I think it's that middle linebacker spot where Kenneth Murray was last year, and they thought they were in pretty good position moving Deshaun White over there, and then doing some different things with Caleb Kelly and guys like Nick Benito. But now with Caleb Kelly out, you wonder exactly how those pieces are all going to fit. There's a lot of names there. They moved some guys from safety down, Robert Barnes being one of them, and but they don't have anybody that's proven. And Kenneth Murray was such an impactful player, especially last year, but really all through his OU career. It's going to be really tough for them to replace. And then the other spot you mentioned with Neville Gallimore, they've got a couple of really, really talented JUCO interior defensive linemen, but it's been a while since a junior college defensive lineman has panned out for OU. But they've got to have one of, if not both, these guys, especially Perrion Winfrey, really make an impact this year if their defense is to take a step forward.
I read a column the other day, and I can't remember who wrote it, that Lincoln Riley has the perfect temperament to guide a team through an offseason that's as stressful and as upside down and whatever you want to say as this one has been. Is that because he's young? What is that about him that he can deal with every curveball that continues to get come down the pipe at college athletics?
Yeah, I think it's just his personality and the way that he approaches things. He was the one who urged caution and patience here early in this off season when things started going crazy during the spring. And I think that's allowed him, not that he didn't have a great relationship with his players before, but it's certainly strengthened that bond through things. And we've seen it a lot of places around the country where the bond between a head coach and players has been fractured during these last 6 months or so, and that hadn't been the case in Norman. And I absolutely agree with that column that Lincoln Riley's demeanor, his personality, his approach to things has really served him well during this time, and has left OU, in a relatively good position, relative to other big-time programs.
All right, last question before I let you go. Obviously, the rumors starting to swirl today about potentially the Big Ten canceling their season and trying to push it to the spring. I don't know how tenable it is to have guys play 20 football games in one calendar year, especially college athletes. Your gut feeling on how this goes down, if you have any at all, because it's been hard to gauge anything for the last 5 months.
Yeah, and with that disclaimer out there that you just mentioned, I would say my gut feeling is this: that they're gonna try to play in the spring. I don't think it's going to happen in the fall, but I think you're going to have a different kind of season. Maybe just conference only games in 2021 and 2021, I guess it would be at that point. But yeah, you can't ask guys to play, heck, if you made the playoffs, it would be, 28 games total. That's not going to be tenable. But if you can make it a conference only season, maybe a conference only with a temporary 8-game playoff, just to make sure you get all of the Power 5 conferences represented, because that's really the toughest thing about this whole deal as it relates to the playoff, is that without non-conference games, that frame of reference is not there. So that's going to be really tough to leave one out without that. But it's going to be really interesting to see. My gut, though, is that we're not going to have football this fall, but hopefully by the spring, they'll be in pretty good position to go out and play.
Ryan Aber, the Oklahoman, with us here on Sikkim.
Do you love Friday Night Lights? Would you like to have a bigger role than just watching the action to ensure the games are played fairly and safely? The Waco football chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO, can make that happen. The 2020 Texas high school football season is right around the corner, and we need you to be a part of it. There's a shortage of officials across the state in all sports, and you can help. If you love the game and want to be a part of the solution, you can help our local student athletes continue to participate in games they love. Never officiated before? Don't worry. Waco Football Chapter can help and prepare you to make the right call. And right now, Introduction to Football Officiating class is accepting registrations. Make your first grade call today by looking us up and contacting us on Facebook at Waco Football Chapter or at our website, wacofootballchapter.com. Find out more about the Waco Football Chapter of the Texas Association of Sports Officials, or TASO. Go to wacofootballchapter.com.
Texas Board Certified Personal Injury Trial Lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recall drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com. Principal office located in Houston, Texas.
Let Camille Johnson Realtors guide you seamlessly through the process of buying your dream home or selling your current one. Commercial, farm and ranch, or residential, Camille Johnson Realtors can smoothly and successfully lead you through any transaction with a team of 24 experienced agents who are excited about serving you. Camille Johnson Realtors services the entire greater Waco area. If you're in the market to buy or sell, contact Camille Johnson Realtors, 104 Midway Center in Woodway, or find them online at www.camillejohnson.com. Camille Johnson Realtors, elegant, charming, warm. Welcome home.
Boozers is the wedding ring store and more. If you're ready to get engaged or already married and want to upgrade your wife's ring for a special anniversary, Boozers is the place to go. With the largest selection of premier quality diamond engagement rings and wedding rings in Central Texas. They have 7 cases with over 300 styles of rings from top designers like Natalie Kay. Choose from yellow, white, or rose gold, plus beautiful top quality loose diamonds. With an in-house jewelry, they can also custom make anything you want. Bring in a picture or drawing and let Boozers create your one-of-a-kind pendant or ring. They can even use some of your old gold and diamond jewelry to create something new. At Boozers, you'll find a great selection of quality timepieces, and Boozers is the place for expert watch maintenance and repairs, too. They specialize in expert Rolex watch repair for fine jewelry, watches, custom work, and more. Go to Boozers on Valley Mills and Lake Air Drive in Waco.
Boozers, the wedding ring store and more.
What are you supposed to do when you pull up behind a truck that doesn't even have a hitch? I mean, it's like looking at plumber's crack. Do you cover your kids' eyes, look away, and switch radio stations? Hi, Jay here from Pickup Outfitters, asking for your help to end this embarrassing form of truck nudity. If you have a truck, at some point you need to pull something. It could be a trailer to haul stuff off to the dump, maybe a jet ski, a boat, an RV, a horse trailer, even just a bike rack. The point is, put a hitch on your truck's backside. And at Pickup Outfitters, we actually install more hitches than anything else. Whether it's a receiver hitch, a gooseneck, or a fifth wheel, we'll cover your aspirations to not drive a nude truck. And all hitches are covered by the Pickup Outfitters Lifetime Installation Guarantee. So cover your rear end with a new hitch from Pickup Outfitters on Lake Air Drive in Waco, where we're fighting to end truck nudity in Central Texas. Check them out on our website at createacommotion.com/hitches.
This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
This high school football segment is sponsored by Southwest Sports Medicine. We'll get you back in the game.
By the way, Brett McMurphy reporting that the Mountain West Conference postponing fall sports, which means Brigham Young is down to 3 games.
And I'm telling you right now, the Mountain West, or somebody already said, or I guess the Mountain West might have said that they're hoping to play in the spring.
You're not going to play in this.
It's not going to play.
Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat right now, 0% financing, no payments for 90 days. The 2020 Ram Lone Star Crew Cab, 0% for 72 months, no payments, 90 days. And the most awarded SUV, the Grand Cherokee from Jeep, 0% for 72 months, no payments for 90 days. Alan Samuels, Dodge, Chrysler, Jeep, Ram, Fiat, Loop 340 east of 84 in Waco. Steve Hell is the head football coach at Hillsborough High School. He was at Groesbeck before that and a couple of other places as well. He joins us now live on Sikkim 365 Radio. So, Steve, we've had, like 20 or so coaches that started working out the first week, which was last week, and a lot of them got the green light. But you just started, is that right? You'll start today. In fact, this afternoon will be your first workout. You guys were delayed?
Yes, sir. We just kicked it off about 10 minutes ago.
And you were delayed because what? Because of a positive test in the school district or the team or where?
Yes, we had kids, the kids test positive, and so we had to shut down for a period of time. And we got to start back last week at summer conditioning. So all summer long, we've taken it like football practice without helmets. We've had great participation, even though we've had a lot of setbacks with the shutdowns. We feel like we are ahead this summer because we've been able to work more football skills with the extra day that UIL gave us than ever before.
How has your team responded to all that and this just roller coaster ride?
You know, the one thing I told everybody, coaches, kids, community, two things have to take place. Number one, we got to be positive, and number two, we've got to be able to adapt to anything and everything that's going to happen this season. We're going to have surprises. The whole state's going to have surprises week in, week out, and we can't use that excuses. We just got to have we're excited to be back together.
Yeah, I would
play football.
Yeah, that's the most important. You're back on the field. I mean, there's been these, as you said, these hiccups. And Mac Rhodes, AD at Baylor, said to us a long time ago, the one thing you have to expect is the unexpected. There's nothing's going to be normal. And the fact that your players have been able to kind of go through that. You had 4 consecutive, not you at Hillsborough, but this is your second year. But 4 consecutive Hillsborough teams have gotten to the playoffs, been one and done. But the record has been under 500, I think, during that time. You have a lot of experience back, though. How much do you feel like that might take you to the next level?
You know, that's the reason I took this job. Hillsborough hadn't had a winning season or a playoff win since we left here in 2001. So me being a hometown boy, I know the kids, and I know we have the pieces to be able to win a championship. That's our goal, is to get our name on the Gold football, whether that's a district championship or a by-district championship. We won one in 01, which was the first time in 46 years. So basically one playoff win in almost 70 years. So we're ready to knock that door down and establish some football tradition here. Got a great senior class that is truly bought in, and they are truly up to the challenge.
Steve Hale, the head coach at Hillsborough, with us on Sikkim 365 Radio. They just basically started their first workout. They're a week behind everybody else. You mentioned those who are back. Thomas Pratt, your quarterback, is back. I know you have others as well. To have the trigger man back, how much does that help?
You know, he's a great leader. He is such an unbelievable kid, great quarterback, good runner. Went through a lot of injuries last year and continued to fight all the way to the end. But, he's healthy. And his team rallies around him and loves his leadership. But we also have some good other players around. We got 2 good first-team all-district linebackers back, and Savion Spencer, John Boston. And the big thing we're going to do with Thomas as well is we're going to play our best 11 on both sides of the ball. So we feel like our best 11 is going to give us a chance to be pretty good this year.
You went to school there. It's your alma mater. How much does that add additional? I know you hear about pressures, what you put on yourself. You hear that all the time. But how much does that put on you wanting to win even more? Not that you didn't want to win at Groesbeck and when you were an assistant at Lamarck and you won a state championship in 03. How much is it because it's your alma mater, there's a little extra oomph there?
There's a lot of extra oomph there. Just the pride factor. Or the factor of establishing pride that I don't think has been here before we've been here. Trying to tell the kids to be able to win like a lot of teams win, like you mentioned Lamarck, and a lot of great teams in Central Texas. There's a difference between commitment and involvement. Those programs have committed kids. And so that's the first thing we had to do is understand that. Involvement means I come and I work when it's convenient for me. Commitment means I'm there in the morning, I'm there after school, and that has allowed us to weed out the kids that don't want to win. And we feel like the ones that are here year are going to give us a great opportunity to win this year.
All right, Steve, thank you very much. Good luck. I know it kind of disrupted a little bit of the early part of your first practice. Thanks for your time. We appreciate you. You too. That's
appreciate you guys.
Stephen Hill, head coach at Hillsborough, 4-7 last year. 5 years in a row they made the playoffs, but got knocked out pretty quickly. And when I look, I got the historical section on my website on Smokey.com. Back in 86, 87, 88, 93, 14-1, 14-2, 10-2-1, and then 93, 14-1-1. No, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong program. Golly, I'm such an idiot. I'm sorry about that. I was looking at another program. I'd gone to switch. Didn't we have a coach last week on Friday that had coached at Lamarck, was a part of a state championship? I think we did.
Yeah.
I think we actually did. And I was trying to find who that was to bring them up. But if you look,
played. Didn't he play for Lamarck?
He may have played at Lamarck. If you look at Hillsborough, this is since 1986. They've not had any more than 7 wins in a year. That's since 86. I haven't go back any further than that. Think about that. Not more than 7 wins. In 87, they won 7. In 2001, they won 7, and that's been it. So they've been in a long, long stretch. And Steve Hale, now the head coach, was at Groesbeck prior to that. He's also been at Medina Valley and Hutto, Arlington Heights, among Lamarck, Sulphur Springs, and Irving Nimitz. When we come back, the 5 o'clock hour, Landry Locker, AM 610 in Houston. He popped the tweet last night. Astros, of course, in a free fall over the weekend against the A's, about what's bothering Jose Altuve. Landry Locker from Houston, next on SicEm 365 Radio.
Are you in the market for a new home? And, that's a stressful process. It can be straight up ridiculous. I know that when I bought this house, I looked at maybe 30 houses before I got to this one. And it was tough. I had a good realtor at the time, and you're going to need somebody who you're going to like spending time with, who's going to hear you, who's going to know what you want. Lance Donaldson and the Donaldson family team, brokered by eXp Realty. Let them be your go-to source as you search for your perfect home. Just call Lance 254-214-3713 or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com. Like I told you, he's a great guy. He's a great listener. He's going to hear what you have to say, and he's going to find you that perfect home, or he's going to get you a great price on the home that you are leaving. Again, give him a call, 254-214-3713, or online at lancedonaldson.exprealty.com.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
The biggest summer sale is still on at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels in Waco. The summer clearance event is where there's still 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on almost everything. The world's most awarded SUV is on sale. Jeep Grand Cherokee with 0 for 72 financing and no payments for 90 days. Or choose Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Renegade, or Jeep Compass. All 0 for 72. Update your ride and save at Allen Samuels.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lake Air Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, pot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated, and a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Look out, folks. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Laureano sprinted toward the dugout, and this is not good, folks. This is exactly what Major League Baseball said you absolutely cannot do.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
Speaking of Laureano, the story, Jeff Passan just put this up momentarily, just a minute ago. Astros hitting coach Alex Cintrón made a vile comment to Laureano regarding his mother that's prompted the charge of the bench. Of course, that's whoever's. And then Dusty Baker, even afterwards in the Zoom, said, hey, that's something you cannot do. A Latin American, or you shouldn't say anything about anybody's mother, but I understand there have been combat boots used at times when you've talked about somebody's mother. Landry Locker, who's an Astros and Rockets homer, Texans homer. So, and we're going to get into, because of your, I mentioned your tweet about Jose Altuve. That's why I contacted you. I was like, wow, we'll get to that. So people can throw at the Astros, but they can't throw at other people?
No, I mean, I'm far from an Astros homer. I think they deserved everything that they've gotten. But honestly, in this situation, I think if Dusty Baker wants to get any credibility as the manager right now, I think he needs to suspend Cintrón for at least half the season. And I'm being 100% serious, because Dusty has been very hypocritical during this whole process. Because after yesterday, he said, it was an off-speed pitch, it got away from him, and that kind of happens. Well, whenever Joe Kelly threw off-speed pitches and it almost hit Carlos Correa, you didn't say that. And now you're in a situation where you've gotten thrown out of a game, you've cussed at a player, and you have a hitting coach who is instigating a fight when your public relations and PR couldn't be any worse. So when I see Alex Bregman get a ball thrown at his head, and I see him fall to the ground, and I see him spit dirt out of his mouth and just keep it moving to first base and not react at all, and then I see a hitting coach, who, by the way, has done a crappy job this year. They're one of the worst situational hitting teams in the league. And I see him bring that kind of smoke, if you will. I honestly think if Dusty Baker wants any credibility in this situation, I don't think he should wait for Major League Baseball. I think the hitting coach should be suspended for at least half the season. Because there's no excuse. You got to know your role. You got to know your role. And when you're a hitting coach, and if you watch the video, he calls Laureano over to the dugout, and then he pushes someone in front of him. And I mean, it was. I think if Dusty Baker wants any credibility, which quite honestly he doesn't have a lot here right now. His approval rating's less than Bill O'Brien's right now. That'll probably change in a month, but it is. I think he needs to take it upon himself and drop the hammer on his hitting coach for what went down yesterday.
Well, it was very much, touted that he was going to change the entire culture of the Astros organization by being there. That's why he was there. Maybe are we seeing that maybe A.J. Hinch wasn't exactly the problem when it came to that? It was more things around A.J. Hinch.
I think that it was more Jeff Luhnow than it was Hinch as far as the attitude and the culture. I think Dusty's taken on kind of like a rebellious where if they yell at us, we're going to yell back approach, which I just don't think is the right approach with how things are right now and how this team is playing. So I think it was more Luhnow than it was Hinch. Dusty's failed miserably so far. He's made some of the dumbest in-game decisions that I've seen in a long time, and you get warned about those when he gets tired. And from what went down yesterday to what he said after, and he's kind of moving the goalpost around, he's been a disaster there as well. And by the way, good news, they picked up that 2021 option, so hopefully he can figure it out. But he's had a lot of injuries, but he has not done what they brought him in here to do, to say the least.
Landry, what has been the kind of overwhelming thoughts of the Astros fan base on what they've seen this season?
I think Astros fans are just kind of spoiled. So you've got used to being one of the more talented teams the last few years. So you lose Verlander, and then you lose Osuna. Alvarez is still in Corpus Christi. I think Astros fans, I think they just need to change the expectations. But right now, it's kind of like when you're used to winning for a long time, and then all of a sudden you just kind of become delusional. I think it's a delusional fan base right now. The first 25% through the season, and I think the expectations just need to be adjusted. Like mid '90s Cowboys, mid to late '90s Cowboys. Like your team starts going away. You lose Garrett Cole, Justin Verlander gets older, but you're still used to winning Super Bowls, even though you don't have Super Bowl talent. I think it's delusional. I think it's very combative. I think it's like an us against the world type thing, where a lot of people feel like they have to defend stuff that you just can't defend, like what we saw yesterday. So I think it's combative and it's very delusional right now, and it's just an adjustment period for Astros fans at this point.
And for Verlander, I guess the latest updates, he's not started throwing yet, right?
He's not. He's out for the season. I don't like if he wanted to. I honestly think, and Richard Justice was on with us last week. Like if he wanted to, if it were up to him, he would throw until the thing completely tore, and then he would have surgery and he would try to play like a year and a half later. But they're not going to let him throw this year. Like I think I would be shocked if we see Justin Verlander again. Like he's done. Like he hasn't even started throwing. So I think he's gone, but I just don't think he wants to accept it. So they're just kind of letting him, see if it swells. I would be absolutely 100% shocked if we saw JV out there again.
Altuve is 12 of 66, 3 home runs, 7 runs batted in, hitting 182. Obviously, he's in a funk. He's a great player, but he's in a funk. And that what caught my attention, Landry, that your text about getting a text from a player from another organization thinking that Altuve is mentally fried and pressing due to the cheating scandal.
Yeah, I got a text from another player that, he's an active player, and he's pretty good. So it's not like one of those where you get like a text from like a guy in single A and then you like preface it to make it sound bigger. He thinks that Altuve is pressing, and that's what he's hearing, and it seems quite obvious. But my thing would be, I don't know when this ends for Altuve, because there are some guys on this team that just don't give a crap what you say about him. I think there's a reason why Carlos Correa has started out, the best he ever has in his 6 years, because Correa doesn't care. Michael Brantley doesn't really care. Alex Bregman, I don't think really cares, although he always gets off the slow start, so I wouldn't put much on it. Gurriel, he's actually hitting a little bit too. He doesn't care either. Altuve, I really think, is a guy who, since he's been on the national scene for a decade, he truly has tried to do everything the right way. Like he's the underdog that everybody likes. You look at Altuve and you say, there's a guy that does everything right. And I'm not saying that he did that because he wanted the approval, but he's not a controversial guy. He's not one of the guys that's staring into the camera like the Correas and the Bregmans. He's not one of those guys that's flamboyant. He's running everything out. He's playing on one leg. He's doing everything the right way. And his reputation has been tarnished to the point where Altuve is one of the most hated players in baseball. And I thought the buzzer talk, the talk about buzzers and stuff, I thought it was unfair because people are going by the commissioner's report in 2017, and then 2019 they said they didn't find any cheating. And there was an ongoing joke with them ripping off Altuve's shirt before with the buzzer. So I really don't think Altuve had a buzzer. And if you read the report and if you hear what the guys are saying, Altuve wasn't really a fan of the trash can beating to begin with. And it's not because he's Mr. Moral High Ground or anything. It's because some guys don't like to hit that way. Altuve, Reddick, and Tony Kemp did not like the trash can because they wanted to guess on their own instead of letting someone else, guess when it was coming. So Altuve was probably the least part of the whole trash can thing, and he had a better average on the road. And his reputation has taken, the biggest hit. I think he's been treated the most unfairly, and they deserve all the smoke they're getting. But I think he's been treated the most unfairly of anybody else, and I think it's getting to him. I don't know if it wears off after time, or I don't know if this is something that he's never going to get over, but something's clearly wrong with Altuve mentally, and it was interesting when the player texted me and told me that too.
I've always thought baseball, now this year differently because there's only a few games compared to 162, that if a guy comes out of April or even into May or so that's an annual or perennial good player, who's a 300 hitter or a guy that hits 35 to 45 home runs, that no matter what they're hitting, it all in the end will kind of somehow materialize. But, man, with Bregman and Springer, 200, 219, 182, 160, that's maybe there's not enough at-bats. I don't know if that's going to change or not, but that's some pretty good that's some truth serum coming from you, Landry. Whatever happened to the good old young kid from Tech?
Hey, I guess you get grumpier and more realistic the older you get. I'm with you on Bregman. The crazy thing is, Smokey, is he always has like a slow start, and it's a month. Like it's usually like a month or something. Hell, that's half your season now.
I know.
I know. That's basically like an 80-game slump. So, there's really just no room for it. I guess maybe the expanded playoffs, they could get in, and it could just be a type of, fluky best out of three. But I don't know, man. They're in a bad spot. Fans are getting a little bit reckless and defensive and delusional. And Dusty Baker, man.
He's taking a heat. Hey, thanks a lot, Landry. Anything else, guys? Thanks, Landry. Great stuff. Landry's he's a big boy player, man. We've known him since he was young, right? Since he was a young kid. Now at 6'10" in Houston and doing a great job. By the way, on the text line, got to read a couple of these. One of them, 254-709. It's shocking how much less you score when you don't know what pitch is coming. TJ, the Astros hitting coach backed up quicker than Smokey seeing a snake in his yard.
Yeah, I think he's got a point as far as the kind of like us against the world mentality. I do think there's a lot of that going on with the Astros and part of their fan base. And, I just think it's all become quite comical. I don't know if comical is the word, but it's kind of ridiculous. I don't know how else to put it, but got a lot of dudes just acting out of their minds in some cases.
President Trump had a briefing this morning or this afternoon. Is this right?
Just now. It just happened.
A suspect was shot outside of the White House by United States Secret Service. The person has been taken to the hospital. He says it doesn't know the condition of the person. That's from earlier. A couple of tweets on President Trump in a briefing. Also, Matt in D.C., just a couple. We got to rattle these off. Great interviews on college football. I think the conferences have to try. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. But have to try. Big 12 will follow what the SEC does.
I just saw a report from Nicole Auerbach. The Pac-12 is really leaning hard into this heart issue, even though that's been out there and published for, several months now. But that's suddenly their big talking point is we don't know what kind of heart issues develop from this virus. But the thing is, for universities who have like actual medical doctors on staff and health and wellness teams, this should not be any kind of a surprise. And maybe it's not a surprise to them, but they are certainly using it now more than they ever did over the last several months. And so I think the Pac-12 is using that as part of their excuse to back out. It's clear the Pac-12 is not playing. Like, you talk about the most wussified, powerless, gutless conference in college athletics, it's the Pac-12. I mean, they have no leadership. They have no power, really, other than just the fact that they're still the Pac-12, but they're gutless, and they're going to bow out tomorrow. The Big Ten, I think it's very clear they're going to bow out, and then we'll see what the rest of them do. But, yeah, the heart issue thing is one that's suddenly, over the last couple of days, become a really big talking point that no one was really talking about previously, although it had been talked about and brought up. And the reason why there's a heart infection is because it's a symptom of it's a cause of you having a viral infection, and it's not just exclusive to COVID. It's something that goes hand in hand with all viral infections. So this is something that could happen regardless of COVID-19. But
speaking of that, Baylor latest testing update: total active cases 8.
That's a spike.
Asymptomatic 7. Symptomatic 1. New cases since last week 7. New cases are from multiple sports, not all currently in Waco. Total number of cases being monitored 14. They've had 52 positive cases since June the 1st, so that's the latest update. You talk about transparent, and they've learned. Now, some schools it took forever to get information from, so that's a number that's jumped. And we'll have Mac Rhodes on tomorrow at some point at 4:20, and God knows what that segment's going to be about.
You might want to check on his availability because the Big 12 is going to be meeting tomorrow.
I know, that's what I'm saying. I don't know. I may not get it.
But there's already video out there of the shooting suspect at the White House being cared for by paramedics. That's just amazing, the world we live in, that's already video out there that I'm watching right as we speak.
Here's from Leon: I'd rather miss 1 year of whatever to watch it for the rest of my life. Keep everybody safe and alive. Thank you, Leon. Appreciate it. That's the Bushes. That's the Riverbend Liquor and Wine Hotline. I got a few other. Craig, Paul, Fernando. These are rapid fire. I know Craig Nash is next on memorabilia, and then Zach Robochik will join us from Troy at 5:40. Fernando Tatis has hit 5 home runs in, 6 games? Or hit 5 home runs in some crazy number. Dad was a Ranger. Cardinals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was.
Luka Doncic joined Oscar Robertson and Russell Westbrook as the only players in the history of the NBA with 12 or more 30-point triple-doubles in 1 year. What he did, was it yesterday or the day before, was insanity. The way that he put up the numbers. And they won this afternoon, in fact. I think they won a game this afternoon. Never before has there ever been a game of at least 36 points, 14 rebounds, 19 assists in 74 years of the NBA. Jason Witten had a Zoom-like deal in a Raiders logos all over it.
Oh, well, I saw the picture they put out the other day, and it was, I don't know, I had to get up and take a walk just for a little bit.
Molly McGrath, who's a sideline broadcaster, and I think, I don't know if she was CBS or ABC or ESPN, just spoke with my dad, who's a research scientist and doctor studying COVID. He believes that student athletes could be safer if they remain with their teams because they'll be closely monitored and have more motivation to avoid social situations.
I just think if you tell them, hey, you're not going to play, I mean, you're 20 years old and you're going to be there, go party. That you're telling them. Just go party.
We've already discussed, we heard from Scott Frost, Nebraska's head coach, Jim Harbaugh, Ryan Day, etc. By the way, how about Colin Morikawa yesterday?
Oh.
The shot on the par 4 16th hole with the driver was insane. His first major. Paul had a hell of a team, but Tyrell Hatton missed the cut.
He's dead to me.
I was 28 under, Craig 16 under, Rob Bolton 20 under. The difference for me was that Morikawa just went off. When we come back, Craig Nash on a sports memorabilia auction to try to help with the possibility of hunger and poverty. It's a Baylor collaborative. We'll have him, then Zach Robochik, Troy. This is Sikkim 365 Radio.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine, easy to access drive-through window. That's open. It's fantastic. You just go in, tell them what you want, and you pick it up. You can probably even call ahead and tell them you're going to come through the drive-through, and they can have it ready for you when you get there. You can absolutely do that. The corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Beautiful location. It's Great to walk in, go in the walk-in beer fridge, see their fantastic selection of craft beers, the best in Waco. They also got Balcones in stock, so if you need some Balcones, you can go there and get it. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, owned and operated in a hidden gem in Waco, Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. Find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
The biggest summer sale is still on at your friend in the car business, Allen Samuels in Waco. The summer clearance event is where there's still 0% for 72 and no payments for 90 days on almost everything. The world's most awarded SUV is on sale. Jeep Grand Cherokee with 0 for 72 financing and no payments for 90 days. Or choose Jeep Cherokee, Jeep Renegade, or Jeep Compass. All 0 for 72. Update your ride and save at Allen Samuels.
It's the heat of the summer, but the real heat is what you're cooking on the grill, smoker, or in the oven. So Waco Custom Marketplace can be your go-to playmaker for summertime grilling. You can't go eat anywhere else? Be your own chef with custom ordered and cut ribeyes, sirloins, fillets, New York strips with a focus on high-quality beef at a competitive price. Waco Custom Marketplace also has fresh deli cuts with sliced turkey, ham, pepperoni, or corned beef. Waco Custom Marketplace also your home for the freshest seafood in town. Salmon, shrimp, mahi-mahi, great priced chicken products, whole birds, tenders, chicken breast, and wings. Waco Custom Marketplace with smoked items unique to Waco, house-made bacon, summer sausage, boudin, hot links, and German sausage. Every seasoning for every occasion, grilling, baking, or frying. Your hometown grocery store with canned goods, pasta, fresh baked bread, buns, chips, sauce, condiments to pickles, charcoal and lighter fluid, cold beer and wine, best kolaches in Waco, mouth-watering cinnamon rolls, and here for the community every single day, helping you avoid the long lines in crowded stores, serving quality products to the Waco community. Go online for the weekly value boxes. Family owned and operated Waco Custom Marketplace, 425 Lakeshore Drive in Waco, or WacoCustomMarketplace.com.
Riverbend Liquor and Wine has their easy-to-access drive-thru open and convenient and clean in-store location on the corner of Lakeshore Drive and North 19th Street in Waco. Riverbend Liquor has the best and most extensive variety of craft beer selections in Waco and Balcones whiskey, including single malt, hot still, baby blue, French oak, rye, and brimstone. Riverbend Liquor and Wine, family-owned and operated in a hidden gem in Waco on Lakeshore Drive at 19th Street. And find out more on Facebook and Instagram.
Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics, the team physician of Baylor Athletics. Our doctors specialize in the diagnosis and treatment of any and all sports-related injuries. Celebrating over a decade of service in Central Texas, our doctors are equipped to handle a wide range of issues, whether it's your foot or ankle, orthopedic spine care, your hand or wrist, knee and shoulder pain, or if you're in need of our arthritis or total joint clinic. Come see us at the new Baylor Scott and White Ted and Sue Getterman Sports and Orthopedic Center. Trusted doctors at Baylor Trust, Southwest Sports Medicine and Orthopedics. Our goal is to get you back in the game.
At Baylor University, students can shine in their own way. Or should we say their own ways? Because there's no limit to the ways Baylor students make the world a brighter place. Whether they're leading a student organization or following a higher calling, getting advice from faculty, or taking part in world-class research, pursuing their dreams, or working toward their dream job, students find their place to shine at Baylor, where lights shine bright.
Welcome back to Sikkim 365 Radio.
Look out, folks. This is not a good idea. This is not a good idea. Laureano sprinted toward the dugout, and this is not good, folks. This is exactly what Major League Baseball said you absolutely cannot do.
The 5 o'clock hour is sponsored by Edward Jones Investments with financial advisor Ben Erlinson, who'll navigate you through today's financial climate. Edward Jones, making sense of investing. Here's David Smoke, Paul Catalina, and Craig Smoke.
All right, here we go. Sick of 365 Radio. Zach Robochik of Troy High School will join us in the next segment. Craig Nash reached out to me. He's the regional manager for Child Hunger Outreach, Baylor Collaborative on hunger and poverty, and he works at Baylor University. He joins us. There's it's a hunger and poverty sports memorabilia drawing from McLennan County Hunger Coalition, and Craig will join us here momentarily. There's some really nice sports memorabilia that is a part of this, and Craig Nash now joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. Craig, thanks for being a part of it. That's coming up this week, collection of sports memorabilia. Let's discuss. We'll get to what is the possibility of what people can draw, auction, whatever. What is the actual event for, and so people can understand what they're helping?
Yeah. So I'm with the Baylor Collaborative on Hunger and Poverty, the Texas Hunger Initiative, and we work with local organizations around town in the heart of Texas who are working to address the issue of hunger and food insecurity among children. And this is actually a project of the McLennan County Hunger Coalition. We are raising funds for an after-school program out at Red Oak Townhomes, which is an apartment complex not too far from campus, just down U Park on the other side of the loop. They have an after-school program that's run by a nonprofit there, and like a lot of apartment complexes in town, many of the families out there, the parents are essential workers. They're, getting home 5, 6 o'clock at night, and the kids need a place to go after school. And so, and one of the things they need is food. And like a lot of these complexes, usually there's someone out there, whether it's a grandmother or an aunt or just someone who's kind of the matriarch out there who often buys food out of their own or pays for food out of their own pocket. So we're working to raise funds for this nonprofit out at Red Oak Townhomes for their after-school meal program.
And I know that there have been school lunches and things that have gone on throughout the throughout the quarantine where people could go and pick them up, but that obviously is not sustainable for a lot of districts or a lot of things. What kind of things do people need to do to to get involved with you guys so that you can help kind of extend those things and make sure they don't stop?
Yeah. So you brought up what we think is the most important kind of fill in the gap resource, which are school meals, and we work real closely with schools who do summer meal programs. We work to help raise awareness for school breakfast. I would say one of the things is just to keep advocating for those programs. I was listening earlier, y'all aired interviews with Greg Roberts and Jared Butler. We've actually had both of those guys come out and speak to both at La Vega and Waco Elementary Schools to speak to the importance of those programs. But there are a lot of geographic areas where those programs just don't reach, and Red Oak Townhomes is one of those. They're kind of in a no man's land out there, kind of between La Vega, Connolly, and Waco ISD. And so a lot of those traditional after school meal programs that are often offered by school districts, just for various reasons, logistics, finances, just have not been able to make it out there. So I would say another area to help is to find one of those areas or one of those complexes. They're all over town, and people who run those programs need financial support.
All right, so we're going to get to the website, and then I'm going to discuss the memorabilia that's up. And there's a couple of things that caught my attention. That's when you sent this to me, Craig, and thanks for being a part of the show. So it's the MCHC website, is that right?
Yeah, it's McLennan County Hunger Coalition is the website.
Okay.
It's McLennanhunger.org.
Okay. And then they can find it from that point.
Down.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
McLennanhunger.org is where you could find the link. And again, it's support-red-oak.summer-meals and / that gets complicated, but it's
you can see it in the middle. If you just scroll down a litle, you'll see it down about midway through the page.
All right, so some of the auction items or the memorabilia items that include a Life magazine from 1939 and 1965 signed by Joe DiMaggio and Mickey Mantle. That's pretty awesome right there. How long did it take to kind of compile a lot of this stuff?
Well, I'll tell you what, all of all of these items were donated by one person, by a person who works with us closely at the McLennan County Hunger Coalition. I think that person wants to remain anonymous, so I'll leave that person anonymous. But he's a collector here in town and has been featured on some news shows. But he's just real passionate about the issue of hunger and about filling in those gaps. And so he, over the years, has collected all of these. And of course, you've named the two big ones. The other big one is there's a Ken Griffey Jr. Hometown Hero Plate, which is Bradford Exchange. Those two magazines have letters of authenticity. So yes, these came to us as a complete package, and we're doing the drawing as the complete package. So it's a winner take all. It's really a high dollar package for collectors.
Yeah, tickets are $5 a piece, or 5 for $20, just like what you would see if you were at a live auction or wherever you were, online, whatever else.
Sounds like a pretty good deal, though. You're not having to get in a bidding war. You're going to get to you can buy some tickets, so a lot of people can get involved in this.
Right. And so, for legal reasons, it is a drawing. We're not calling it a raffle and or an auction. And so, yeah, it's low risk, high reward.
Yeah, it really is. So it's McLennanHunger.org, and poverty, food insecurity, all of the challenges that face McLennan County residents and much more. And do you find, and I guess during these times where a lot of people are hurting and a lot of people have had their jobs lost or they're in unemployment or what they're dealing with, do you find that something like this gets more attention, or do you feel like it's about the same?
Yeah, it does get more attention. One of the things I note is, here in our country, we tend to deal with emergencies pretty well. The pandemic has really shown a light on need. Even before the pandemic, McLennan County had around a 20% what we call food insecurity rate. And so it's during those normal times when it's hard to draw attention to it. But now we have what I would call, people who are approaching the area of need that may not have experienced it before. So there's both an empathy that comes from that. There are more people who are experiencing need. But those of us who are privileged, who have kept our job, and are able to help are, kind of stepping up. So, yeah, I would say the pandemic has definitely highlighted, the fact that a lot of people struggled during even non-pandemic times.
Craig, you want to add anything else to what this again is? It's this Friday, August 14th, collection of sports memorabilia items that include Life magazines, 39 and 65, the years, DiMaggio and Mantle. Anything else?
I would say purchase tickets online by midnight on Thursday. We're going to do the drawing at noon. And again, I'm representing McLennan County Hunger Coalition, but I'm with Baylor's Texas Hunger Initiative. We're housed there in the School of Social Work downtown. And if you're interested in us, if you go to texashunger.org, you can learn all about the work we do as well.
Thanks for reaching out, Craig. I appreciate it. Hopefully we give you a little bit oomph with this, and good luck with it, okay?
Well, thank you. I really appreciate you drawing attention to it.
That's Craig Nash. It's Waco and McLennan County. Hunger, food insecurity. Together we can end hunger in our community. And the website, McLennanHunger.org, and then scroll down to what you can find on the auction. You can get one ticket, costs $5, and you might win. Buy 5 for $20. It's like anything else. It's kind of like the more you buy, the better your odds are, of course. Rice now announcing they've moved their season back to September 26th. So that's but I saw where the Sun Belt has said, no, we're moving forward.
Yeah, Sunbelt says they're going to play, and they, I guess, believe the SEC is going to play as well. So they're following their lead, apparently. I was sitting here reading through during one of the breaks Nicole Auerbach's latest piece, and there's all sorts of unnamed people. Unnamed AD this, unnamed commissioner this, unnamed. This is kind of an important issue, and I don't just mean getting football games played. I mean the health and safety, is that if that's what we're really trying to prioritize, which I believe anybody with a real heart is hoping that that's what is prioritized. But everybody running around anonymously behind each other's backs to tell every reporter that they can of, it's not going to happen yet, but just wait, this is going to happen. I know they met yesterday or whatever, finally, all the Power 5 commissioners. Yeah. Like, yesterday was the first time they basically did this, to our knowledge. Maybe it's happened previously, but it sure didn't sound like it in talking to Matt Rhodes, given the way leagues were running off renegade style, making their own decisions. This has become such an even bigger mess that you've got, like, for example, the Sun Belt saying we're moving forward. You got Nicole Auerbach writing articles. Unnamed AD says it's just a matter of time. It's all getting shut down. Like, no, I don't even know what to make of all of it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much change and so much, like, from every side that I don't even know what to believe. And I definitely believe I'll wake up tomorrow at some point and see the Big Ten's canceled, the Pac-12's canceled, and then we'll see what the rest of them do. Well, it'll be interesting to see how long anyone stays alive here, basically, when it comes to this. And what will happen if the Big Ten, everyone's saying they haven't canceled it, what happens if everybody holds strong? No, every single reporter has indicated the Big Ten is just BSing right now. They're going to make it official tomorrow. Now, if it doesn't happen, to your point, then that will be something else, because I highly doubt that they're going to change course, because everything I've read from multiple different websites, they're all saying the same thing. The Big Ten's made their decision. They're just timing it out, basically. Okay. And the Pac-12, we know those guys. They're scared of their own shadow. They're not going to play football. Coming up next, Zach Robochik. It's a great story. Plays at Troy, 2,800 yards rushing, 35 touchdowns. We had him on a few times at the radio station. There were thoughts he would get overlooked because of no camps. He got a nice offer. He got a really nice offer. There's some stories behind other offers he had. He's next on Sikkim 365 Radio. Well, how about this for a nice surprise? Employee pricing is continuing on at Richard Carr. Their summer sales event keeps on going. The summer savings event going on now at Richard Carr, Buick GMC Cadillac. You pay what employees pay all month long. Qualified buyers right now can save over $7,000 on 2020 Acadias. You can also save $7,000 on 2020 Yukon, $7,000 on 2020 GMC Terrains. If you're looking for a truck, how about saving $8,000 for qualified buyers on a 2020 GMC SLT Crew Cab? If you're looking for the ultimate luxury and style in an SUV, you're not looking for a truck so much, well, they've still got the line of Cadillacs, the XT4s, XT5s, or the even roomier 7-passenger Cadillac XT6 right now. You can experience the thrill of owning a Cadillac XT4 for only $35,900 at Richard Carr Cadillac. As always, you get great prices, plus free oil changes with a new purchase, and in-town priority warranty service every time you buy a vehicle at Richard Carr Buick GMC Cadillac. Richard Carr Motors are the people you can count on, local family dealer run by Baylor alumni. They want the chance to earn your business. So stop by that daily disinfected showroom, see their safety-focused staff, or as always, they will bring the test drive to your home. Your comfort and safety is Richard Carr's first priority. Find them online at Richard Carr, that's KARR.com, or Highway 6 at the Imperial Exit. Stepping into the boots of a U.S. Army officer can add confidence and leadership skills to your son or daughter's career path. See all the things they can achieve in our boots at GoArmy.com. U.S. Army Waco Recruiting Company, 254-598-8131, 254-598-8131.
One size fits all. That may be all right for an adjustable belt or cheap sunglasses, but when it comes to your financial needs, no one wants a one-size-fits-all strategy. Cam Heathcott, your Edward Jones financial advisor, knows that his most important goals are yours. That's why he takes the time to understand your needs, knowing you. That's how Edward Jones makes sense of investing. Cam Heathcott, covering Conroe and Houston, 936-756-7717 or cam.heathcott at edwardjones.com. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Dr. Kent Petty wants you to be the highest performance man you want to be. Are you sluggish, lack energy? Do you suffer from low sex drive? Petty Clinic Low T offers discounted comprehensive lab work to check on your various levels that can make a difference. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be with higher energy and stamina and improved sex drive, but also the healthiest and high performance man. Screening for cardiac heart disease risk, EKG, cholesterol panel, blood pressure monitoring, testosterone or growth hormone deficiency, male infertility, hepatitis C, and prostate cancer screening. Petty Clinic Low T offers replacement therapy for testosterone or growth hormones, weight management therapy, and nutritional advice. It's not only time for you to be the man you want to be, with higher energy, stamina, and improved sex drive, but the healthiest and highest performance man. PettyClinicLowT.com, PettyClinicLowT.com on Old Hewitt Road, just off Highway 84 in Woodward. PettyClinicLowT.com.
Texas board-certified personal injury trial lawyer and Baylor alum David Willis and Baylor alum Parker Willis are ready to help if you or a loved one has been wrongfully injured in an auto accident, SUV rollover, industrial accident, 18-wheeler crash, or were seriously injured by a defective product or recalled drug. Call them for a confidential and free case consultation at 1-800-GOT-HURT or visit them at texastriallawyer.com, principal office in Houston, Texas.
You want to know why Stonewood Dental is so successful? Listen to what happy customers have to say.
It's pleasant. It's different than any other dentist office. I really feel like they care. And it's not that you're here for 2 hours waiting on someone to take care of you. It's quick and easy, and I bring my kids, and my kids love being here too. They really love the treasure box. Staff is really nice and accommodating, real friendly. You feel more like home. It's not sterile looking. Everybody has their own personalized rooms with decorations and decor, and they'll even have a blanket for you when it's cold. I've recommended people to actually come here, and they are patients now. I really love it here. It feels like family.
Learn more, stonewood-dental.com.
In the market for a quality metal building? Since 1943, Pioneer Steel and Pipe has helped Central Texas residential and commercial customers with metal building design, panel options, building components, and trim options. Pioneer Steel and Pipe's residential line is energy efficient, offers low maintenance, reduces insurance payments, is impact resistant, and carries up to a 45-year limited warranty. In addition, they can also help you find a metal building contractor for your project. Pioneer Steel and Pipe with locations in Waco and Bryan and at pioneersboys.com.
Are you a Sikkim 365 super fan? Then try out our premium subscriptions at Sikkim365.com.
Well, I love this story. So I got a call yesterday. I believe it was yesterday, sometime early, from a friend who's also a sponsor of the show that knows the Robochik family very, very well, that told me that Zach was going to get a visit from Sam Houston State, and there would be an offer on the table for him. Zach Robochik, all-state record-breaking running back from Troy High School, joins us on Sikkim 365 Radio. We haven't spoken to you in a lot, but I've been paying attention to you. How relieved are you that this thing came, and kind of take me through the decision of Sam Houston State?
I'm super relieved just knowing I get to go forward with my senior season committed. It's something that I've always wanted to do and finally decided to this weekend. And the main factor was definitely Coach Buckner, the running back coach. He was a big part of the reason why I committed. Just telling me how much he wanted me there, and just the atmosphere he was telling me about at Sam Houston and everything. And I've only heard good things about Sam Houston from everyone I've talked to, and I just know they're going to take care of me up there when I go over there.
How tough is it to do this without being able to do like the visits and everything you'd normally do?
It was really tough because I was personally going to wait till my senior season was over to go visit, but I doubt I would have gotten to because of COVID and everything. So I just made my decision off of the people and knowing they're going to take care of me up there.
What's this been like, young man, from your perspective, all the uncertainty, not knowing if you're going to have a season or not knowing what anything's going to look like? I mean, just how do you feel like you yourself have handled it personally, and what's it been like in your shoes?
I've definitely handled it well. It's actually been a big plus for me going through the lockdown and stuff and being able to work out every day and not have to worry about playing track or baseball and losing weight and getting my weight way down where it's not supposed to be. And just being able to eat right and work out every day has really helped me personally through all of this. But definitely the uncertainty part about it is that you never know if you're going to have a season or if it's going to get canceled or not. and that's the part I don't like about it. So I'm just taking it every day as it's my last.
You didn't think this was going to happen. I'm not saying you didn't believe, because I know you, not that well, but I know you well enough from the times we spoke with you on this show, Zach. But with all that was shut down, no camps, nothing, you kind of alluded to that earlier. How much of a change in your emotions from the fact that this did, and others said it's going to happen. Just kind of take your time, stay patient. How hard was that?
It was definitely super hard because I'd get really antsy about it half the time and just worrying about everything. But, just got to keep a level head through all of it.
It's there, though. You got it. Now, I'm an SFA guy, so I don't even know why we invited you on the show. I'm still upset about this. I had to talk to Kobe Carthel about this. But, no, and that's how much we appreciate you, is that you would have done this anyway if you'd have, whatever school you committed to.
He was a little scarred, though, Zach. I'm not going to lie to you.
I'm a little bit upset about it. I guess my interviews with you over the last couple of years didn't make a damn bit of difference. I was like,
Zach, did you have any questions that you were going to end up finding a spot, or were you at all maybe worried that an opportunity wasn't going to present itself?
I was definitely a little worried my sophomore year with me kind of freaking out everything during our last few games. But I knew once I had to make a change that summer with my top end speed and everything. And camps weren't really a huge part of it. I went to a Baylor camp and then a few smaller schools. And I ended up getting my first offer from, I think, Texas Wesleyan was one of the schools. They were at the camp in Georgetown. And that definitely helped. It got my confidence way up, and I was super excited. And then a few of the Southland conferences started rolling around, and it just blew up from there.
Yeah, and you, there was an offer that I know about, and it's with the U.S. Army, at West Point, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And that shows you how strong you are with Sam Houston State, because that's hard to turn that down.
Yes, sir. My dad's an Air Force guy anyway, so.
Now, your dad's a decorated Air Force man, right? Isn't he a decorated soldier?
Yes, sir.
Why did you, and if you don't mind, with Army there, and it's fantastic about what you're doing because you're going to be close to home. You can watch, everyone can watch you play. We can keep up with you even more. What was one of the concerns about the military academies?
Part of it was the giving 4 years back and everything, and just being so far away from home and everything, and it's cold up there, so that's one part.
But you also saw what a military life can be like. And listen, U.S. Army Recruiting is one of our sponsors. And yes. So, but you were a little bit worried about being away from home for too long.
Not so much worried, but I know it'd make it easier on my parents to come to games and everything, and just being able to see me in general. And I get to eat my mom's food more than usual now.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's where it, right
you got
straight.
The important things figured out.
Right straight to the stomach, right? It wasn't your heart, it was your stomach. Hey, man, congratulations. We're so happy for you. You've earned this.
Thank you.
And despite not having camps or whatever, you've done a great job. Zach, congratulations. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Zach Robotchik, Troy High School. Yeah, his father's a decorated Air Force veteran, and so that he's a part of that military background. It's great. So.
Sound like you were trying to push him out of the Sam Houston decision into the military.
Well, I mean,
questioning
I was
why.
doing my best as an SFA alum. It's horrible.
We still do need our best and brightest. He's a sharp kid.
Yeah,
I need to go see him.
The whole contractual side of it, I think, would be that's the hard thing, is that you don't, like, anytime you see a kid sign to the Air Force or the Army, there is like a 90% chance you never hear about him again.
Yeah. As
far as sports goes, because they don't just go join the team and they're playing as true freshmen. Like that's not the way that it works. So, that's a big decision, and that's a life decision more than a college football decision to make. But Sam Houston's a good football decision to make.
They've been pounding SFA for a
decade. Goodness gracious, Woodrow. He'll probably, be in the playoffs or something like that if we ever have those again, unless everybody's still too scared 2 years from now. But, no, I think it's a good choice for him, and I'm really glad that he's getting this opportunity.
Woodrow's either got to poop or he's hungry.
No, I actually think it's because the trash
Delivery.
people are here.
Oh, okay, yeah, and well, that's good. Now, yeah, because when I went through a bag of trash down in there, they had not come by. Paul, do you have the Joel Klatt audio?
Yeah.
I know that you're
Yeah, I do.
got a lot of things you're working there, and unbelievable weaving through. Where's Deontay?
Deontay,
He's
you know where
retired.
Deontay? No. We have Deontay for one more week, but Deontay had to take off.
I hear that all the time now.
He is doing his podcast, and he got Jay Billis today.
Oh, good for him.
So-
This is a record tying 10. What we just did with Zach.
Yeah.
And I have been trying to get these podcasts up on the links. It's been hard.
Yeah.
You
better play Joel Klatt here.
All right, so Joe Klatt, who's very outspoken, former Colorado quarterback, who's Fox Sports. We've had him on a handful of times. He today responded to a text or tweet last night about why he thought that college football should kind of forge through whatever it is. He gave 5 different reasons. This is the one that I want to get your feedback on, if this is the one that makes the most sense to you.
And now more of the player-specific things. I think players will be way better off and way healthier, and this is maybe the most important one, within the structure of football than outside of the structure of football. Listen, when you're in a community of testing and tracking and protocols and procedures with medical and healthcare right at your fingertips, with nutritional and diet needs right at your fingertips, with social distancing guidelines, mask wearing, so on and so forth, academic structure and accountability in all those areas, that is a safer bubble, if you want to call it that, than being out in the normal fray of everyday life. There's no doubt in my mind that being on campus within the structure of football and even playing the sport of football, these players will be much safer than if they were just told, hey, the season is canceled, go on your way. The only way that you could get much safer than being within these testing protocols twice a week, so on and so forth, and the guidelines, would be if you were in isolation and or quarantine. So this notion that it is somehow extremely dangerous for the kids to be within these testing protocols and procedures, I think is false. By the way, being in that community, you know that everyone else is going through the same testing protocols and procedures, and that's very important. Alternatively, let's say you're not, you would not know if you were an asymptomatic case, which, by the way, the majority of this age group would be an asymptomatic case. So that asymptomatic case, without the procedures and the structure of football, would then be at greater risk to be a driver of community spread. And in some cases, remember now, these kids would be going back to multi-generational homes. So you're talking about a very dangerous aspect of being in a situation where you don't know if you have the disease, rather than being within the protocols of actually playing college football. So that's number 3.
That's it. That makes a lot. That's kind of when I've read what Ryan Day or Jim Harbaugh or Nick Saban or others have said, and even Scott Frost, who we let off with that comment because that was the kind of the first coach to speak today. That's what they're all saying.
Dabo Swinney is holding a teleconference right now. Before it just got started, there were 65 people on the line waiting for Dabo to talk, and Clemson had a big blow up initially, and this is the smart-ass media that really just, quite frankly, pisses me off. You got a guy like Alex Kirshner who sees this quote from Dabo. This is the safest environment we could have our guys, without a doubt. And so this guy sees that quote. We can't know anything for sure because we don't test enough people nationally, but Clemson having at least 37 cases so far out of a 200-ish person program while students aren't even on campus makes us very suspect. Hey, Alex, you know what the next quote was? Clemson has had one positive since early July. Moron. So, I don't trust the media in any of this. I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming the leadership of college football, or the lack thereof. I'm blaming COVID-19 for just being what it is. It's a reality, whether we want to face it as that or not. I don't have the answers, certainly. I don't know what the safest measure is, but I do know I've been really disgusted by the obvious angles that a lot of people are taking. Not because it's in the best interest of everybody or because it's in the best interest of the players. It's because it's what they want to see. And it's very obvious by how they phrase certain things, much like I just gave you. He wants to pop off and then doesn't want to acknowledge that Clemson, while they did have a problem early on, did have all but one positive since last month. So I don't know about you guys, but I know that if I was in a college football program right now, I feel pretty good about my chances of being taken care of. And if I do happen to get it, I think the odds are about the same as me doing what I'm doing right now. And I guarantee you I'd be taken better care of if I was a football player than being Craig Smoke.
They're better off than the three of us are right now.
Absolutely
I
they
mean, they
are.
are. I mean, because nobody's coming here. I mean, nobody has said, I don't make you guys get tested twice a week to come in my house.
Right.
You
And
know,
look,
I mean, like,
man, if they don't play football, they don't play football. I'm not saying all this because I have to see football being played. I just think that we have some chicken-ass leaders, and I think that this has been one game of cat and mouse, and people have had their minds made up for 2, 3, 4 months now, and they're just gutless. They don't want to be the one that starts the dominoes. They don't want to be the one that gets pointed at. They want everybody to just kind of all do it together, and nobody wants to be the guy. And there have been conferences that have pulled the trigger, but like the Big Ten stuff, it's just gutless, man. And look, if you can't play in a certain part of the country, you can't play, but I don't think that should mean nobody else can if they feel
I think
like
that
they should.
I think it's
know.
a big enough deal that if you're going to say in this case, and I understand using sources or what you can or cannot say, in this particular case, when you have something that's about to be like shatter, that you should go on record as whoever you are as a president and AD. Not otherwise.
Unnamed
3,
Big Ten
5,
AD says.
Say it.
Yeah.
Mac Rhodes has been on record whenever we talk to him every week. That doesn't mean that we didn't share a text or two on a thing. But say it's big enough. It's a big enough deal. It's a big enough story that in this particular case, to me, sources is just not enough. I'm not saying that these guys aren't writing good stuff.
What is the point of being unnamed? If you're sitting there telling a reporter
Because
that
they
you're
wanna
worried
throw
about the
poop
health
against the wall and see what
safety
sticks.
of student athletes, why would you not put your name on that? If you're the Ohio State president, does it mean more coming from unnamed Power 5 AD or from Ohio State president says, I know which one would mean more to me, so this unnamed crap needs to go away. There's no reason for anonymity in any of this right now.
No, unnamed needs to be when when you
Like
don't
Watergate.
know. Yeah, Watergate.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is not Watergate.
Anonymity.
Yeah.
Things like that. But this is say
there's
it.
no reason
if you're
for
Gene
anonymous.
Smith,
Yeah.
say it. Don't like psst. All right, man, what a day. And this is just Monday with Tuesday the possibility of a volcano. Because it's definitely it's simmering and about to burst in one way or the other. And perhaps, you know what? There was, we've seen this kind of change the tide. The unknown, the speculation, which is what Craig's kind of harping on about. It's damning. It's dangerous. It's
very easy to see who does not want a college football season and who does.
Absolutely. And some guys go, I know, my job depends on it. Thanks to Dan Wetzel for kicking off the show today. He had a lot of other things to do with all the stories. Yahoo Sports, Ryan Langiel from Jesuit, Devin Lemire from Maynard, Baylor commits, Jerry Hill, Baylor Bear Insider. Ben Bolt has canceled their football season, the first team in Texas to do that. Gary Cunningham